Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Kyle, and welcome to Fantasy Forge Studios, presenting Adventures in Middle Earth, Part 8. Already Part 8, and technically the adventure that they're on hasn't officially started yet. But we'll get right into it. It'll be a party. We got some celebrations, some gatherings of the five armies, and good stuff like that. But let's go ahead and introduce the crew that we have, our players down below. Let's go ahead and start with Valineth.
Hey guys, my name is Dain, or Forged. You may call me here at Fantasy Forge Studios, and I play the character Valineth, son of Morbith. He is a high elf scholar, Healy scholar from the city of Rivendell, and he's pretty cool. He enjoys healing people. He is a very pompous dude, and he's excited to be eating some dinner tonight. So it should be good.
Absolutely. Especially after a long time on the road, a nice feast in the royal palace is always a welcome treat. Let's go ahead and jump onto Theodric.
Hey everybody, I'm that Tubby Australian. I will be playing Theodric Grimborn, the young man of Rohan. It'll be interesting seeing how he deals with rubbing shoulders with nobility and kings and queens.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and move on to our next player, Jalen.
Hello, I play Jalen Grinfold, the warding from the Breeland. My name is Leo, or SpiderFan33 in chat.
Perfect. And we have our last final player of the night, Feanor. Oh, can't hear you, buddy. Not yet. Oh, can't hear you.
This is the exact same problem he had when
I know, last I think so.
No, even when he came in, it was like...
No, you hear me right?
Yeah, now we
Yeah,
can
you're
hear you.
good now.
You're good.
It was an option to load. This happens every week to me. But I'm going to be playing Feanor the Mirkwood Elf. Yeah.
Awesome. And I am Kyle. I am going to be the lore master, the DM of Adventures of Middle Earth, and I will be guiding this party through the narrative of this festival, but also going forwards into future adventures. So let's go ahead, and without further ado, we'll actually go ahead and jump into some recap of the last event. So it's been 2 weeks since we played, but a couple weeks ago, for those of you who haven't caught up, the party participated in the melee. However, before they spent some time being able to, try to find out what the competition was about and who is going to be competing in this melee. And those who won this melee got a seat at the head table next to all of the royalty that is in basically the city of Dale for the gathering of the five armies. And so this group that we have before us, they formed a party in order to fight off. And actually, they did a fantastic job. But before getting into that, they got some nice herbs. They bought some bear meat. They did all kinds of fun things. They got robbed, so that's always good too. And got the kids to be on their side.
The one who was keeping a lookout was the one who got robbed.
Yes. Exactly. So, with all that said and done, they went into the melee, and it was a great melee. There were 80 people total, a number of different groups that were participating in this, including Garrick and the Black Arrows. We had Elstan and his legion of, not legion, but basically his battle company of close knights. And then we had the only one who was actually there alone was actually a Beorning by the name of Gerald, and he was there holding his own as well, and then a company of dwarves as well. But there were and then some woodmen and other warriors of Dale and whatnot participated in this fight. And we have the party. They were able to make their way all the way to the final round, to where they faced off against not only Garrick, which Jalen took down in a nice heroic fashion, but against Gerald the Beorning. And he is a monstrous man, a mercenary who makes his way throughout Wilderland, earning money and glory through fighting and defeating terrible beasts that exist within Middle Earth. And so the party surrounding Gerald were able to take him down. And moving on kind of down to the south where Elstan and his company were fighting off the dwarves that were in that last round. Basically had him and a guard to take out the rest of the party. And unfortunately, it turned out where Elstan did end up becoming victorious. However, it was an 8 HP difference that basically tipped the scales from victory to Elstan and his group. So they did a really good job. That combat is not designed at all for them to be able to win very easily at all. And so they did a really good job, really good party teamwork. But afterwards, they met up with all of the people that were participating in this melee, kind of, were buddy-buddy, kind of had some camaraderie amongst them. And they departed to the missing scale for the evening. And in the missing scale, they not only celebrated the victories that they had throughout the week, but they enjoyed, building some relationships with other allies within Middle-earth. And so they go to sleep that night, and I'm going to have you guys, if you do wish, your basically wounds were mended a little bit. But if you want to spend hit dice in order to recover HP, I will allow you to do so. However many you want. I believe you have 2 hit dice at this point. So at level 2.
When do those reset?
After a long rest.
Oh lord, how long's the long rest for us?
So a long rest in Adventures of Middle-earth. So this is a D&D 5e campaign, but for Adventures of Middle-earth, long rests don't happen during a night of sleep. A night of sleep is the equivalent of a short rest. The only way that you can get long rests are if you rest in sanctuaries. And these are places that basically you have to do stuff for the town, unlock a certain place as a sanctuary. And if you spend a night in a sanctuary, you get a long rest. However, that being said, you may also get a long rest if you complete an entire holiday phase inside of a city. Not holiday phase, what is it called? Fellowship phase inside of a city. And by completing that fellowship phase inside the city, you are able to completely heal up everything, restore all of your abilities and everything. But unfortunately, Dale is not unlocked for the party as a sanctuary. And so currently, they're only able to complete a short rest if you want to do so. So feel free to roll as many dice as you have, heal up as much as you want, and we'll go ahead and jump right into it.
I have a technical question.
Yes.
So there were healers at the end of the melee. Did they give us any hit points?
They did. So they healed you up to your previous level 1 hit points.
Ah, okay. Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You bet. And so I believe
some of us-
yeah. So
I was just gonna say, for some of us, our HP almost doubled.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, and everybody unlocked some pretty cool stuff. If you want to share some of those things that you unlocked, feel free. Now's the time to do that so everybody kind of knows what each class does.
All right, Valineth is pretty cool. He can now, with his spell, heal twice. instead
Not
of just-
spell. His healing
Sorry,
hands.
His healing hands. his non-herbal remedy for healing. He can now heal twice. And he, when he heals and he takes a long time to do it, 10 minutes to do it, he gets 2d8 to do so, as well as my wisdom.
No, so
modifier, which-
it's 2d8 times your wisdom modifier. And so you can do that if you take time. However, if you now that you are a master healer, now that you can essentially become an epic panini for a little bit. But no, sorry, dumb. Just Theodoric just became an epic panini.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay.
That happens sometimes.
I get it. But essentially what you do is with one heal, instead of 1d8 plus your wisdom score, you're able to heal 2d8 plus your wisdom score for one heal. So really strong, super nice, especially for low levels. Like you can pretty much get someone up to full HP most of the time if you do that.
And I can also, if I don't want to heal HP, I can also heal some status conditions too. For example, exhaustion, stuff like that. So
Yeah, awesome.
with that spell. So yeah, that's what
And so he is a scholar, but with both Theodric and Feanor, you guys are slayers. Do you guys have an idea of what new things that you have unlocked at level 2?
Yeah. You talk about him. You talk about him. That's all.
No. I got reckless attack, which is or is it when I make my first attack on my turn, I can decide to attack recklessly, giving advantage on melee weapon attack rolls using strength. However, I also have my enemies also have attack advantage against me.
Yeah, and then we also have danger sense, which means basically that we have advantage on any dex throws for stuff that we can see, and cannot be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated.
Perfect. And Jalen, do you have an idea of what your character now does? If not, I have it pulled up and I can explain it.
I am a jack of all trades.
Which essentially means proficiency in lots of things.
Yo, that's
It's
pretty
half
sick.
proficiency bonus rounded down. So, jack of all trades, expert in some.
So, yeah, it's super duper nice. And actually, at second level, you have additionally unlocked Campfire Tales, which beginning at level 2, you can help revitalize your wounded allies during a short rest. If you tell tales, basically, if you tell tales during a short rest, then you and nearby friendly creatures listening to your tales gain an additional 1d6 hit points per hit dice spent. So the number of extra hit points increases as you gain warden levels to 1d8 at level 9, to 1d10 at level 13, and then 1d12 at level 17. So super cool, really nice. You can basically give people extra healing. So
So
is
does
that
that mean-
the Song of Rest on my character sheet?
should be Song of Rest. So
Yeah.
the way that
I didn't scroll it down properly. That's fine.
Perfect. And then
Okay.
actually things change a little bit when you guys hit level 3. That's when all of your Adventures of Middle-earth stuff on your character sheet starts kicking in. So things might change the way that they're named or the way that they sound, just because that's what happens. So
We're gonna get sick of hearing about Tales of Tad.
no, it's gotta be sick.
man.
It's gonna start healing you.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Tell us the story again, Jalen.
Of Tad the Slayer, Tad the Revenger, or Tad the Rescuer?
Tad, thrower of rocks,
Oh, that's a good one.
lord of the stones.
I love it.
The
I
Name
love
like
it.
that would hype up any dwarf. I love it.
So the nice thing about waking up for this feast is technically there is not a dress code. However, you guys do have, well, at least 2 of you, Jalen and Feanor, do have nice clothes if you wish to wear nice clothes to this event. If
Okay.
not, there is no dress code. So
I was gonna ask, can I get a second suit of clothes? Because, you know, wearing the same outfit twice is tacky.
okay, yeah, absolutely. Well, you have a little bit of time to be able to prepare for tonight, and so if you wish to
Shopping
do so.
episode.
You absolutely can. We're gonna do a shopping episode, but an expedited version. What are you looking for, Jalen? And I'll give you prices.
So, basically, like, a man's suit.
Okay.
It's for, like, dignitaries where they want to go to nice places, but if they still have to fight, they are able.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. If I can't find that in my size,
Okay.
then I'll just go for like a dress that I can hide my sword in.
Perfect.
Don't tell me they don't exist, because I know that they do.
I'm sure they do. Absolutely. And if not, I'm sure you can get someone to prepare that for you. But we will go ahead and do a couple rules here. So the first is to determine what kind of things are what are available. And so the first one you said you're looking for is the suit to be able to kind of maneuver around combat and whatnot. There are some that are available. The colors are limited as far as that goes. And then as far as dresses go, there are a number of those that are available in all kinds of colors. So it just kind of depends on your preference.
Cool. Well, I thought by looking at boots, making sure there's some in my size, first of all.
Yeah, so definitely you'll find, you said boots in your size? Suits in your size.
Yeah.
There are some in your size, and there are actually some for like teenage boys. that are in your size actually that could work, and they're really nice. So you actually know exactly where to go since you had spent some time doing this already on what is this called, the white lane. So the white lane, which is number 12 here, it allows you to be able to go and purchase those if necessary. I don't know if you can hear me if you're still there, but that is going to be, for one of those suits, that is going to be 3 silver pennies.
Can anyone else hear Jalen? Or
I cannot.
can-
No, she's
her-
gone on my
Her
screen.
browser just crashed. We got it.
Well, I also quickly wanted to buy stuff so we can do that.
Okay.
Back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feanor's walking down. He wants those fingerless leather gloves, and he wants a white half cape that
White
like
half
hang
cape.
off his shoulder.
Okay, perfect.
Now that he's not with Jalen, he's like, yes, and he's like now going to find the things that really caught his eye.
Absolutely. Yeah, you
Okay,
you find
so
those
yeah.
easily. You actually go to the same people that you saw earlier, and you're just like, and they're like, yeah, that's going to be 2 silver pennies. Basically, like 1.5 for the half cape, and then like, what was it, like 5 copper for the gloves. So,
Yeah.
2 silver pennies.
Cool. Easy, he pays it.
Perfect.
okay, while that is happening, Theodric is going to turn to Velen and be like, "We need to dress up for this, don't we?"
And Valiant looks down at his hand. He's just crying to himself. He's like, "Oh yes, we do need to dress up, but I have something else on my mind." And he starts crying.
A weepy elf.
Yeah, would I have any nice clothes on me, just in general? Since
Yes.
I come from Rivendell?
Yes.
Okay.
And so actually your normal leathers are very fine, and like they work as kind of really nice kind of noble's clothes. So
What about Theodric? Is he dressed like a country bumpkin?
he's got armor. So he has like he has like some decent nice Rohirrim armor, like the kind of like a chainmail, like a chain corselet, I think.
Yes.
But underneath, he essentially has like a pair of like brown slacks, and then kind of like a very dirty, stain-worn, like linen shirt.
Well, Valenus is gonna turn to Theodric and he's like, "What are you talking about, buddy? I think we are men of our cultures, and I think we need to represent." And I give him a pat on the back, and then he starts crying again to himself, thinking about his vambrace that he lost. Is there any way I can ask around while they're out shopping if anyone has seen it really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to the barkeep and explain it to him without role playing it. Just like, I'm missing this. It looks like this. It's got the symbol of Numenor on the back of it. I'm missing it. I think the children stole it, and I'm gonna ask where. Oh gosh, what was her name off the top of my head? Does anyone remember?
Brindle.
Brindle.
I know that because I watched
There
the
we
whole
go.
episode this morning.
Hey, well, I'm gonna ask where Brindle lives.
Yeah, so you do so. He doesn't know who you're talking about, actually.
I explain the best I can. Yay high, teenage girl, very poor. We gave lots of bear meat to someone who was looking around a bunch of bear meat.
He basically says like he'll keep an eye out, but he can't make any promises. I mean, word travels through the town, and so at the missing scale, rumor could potentially come back about this
Well,
girl
now he's
named
aware,
Brindle.
though.
Now he's
I
aware.
appreciate it. Yeah.
How long do we have before the feast tonight?
Yes,
Is
so
that
the
tonight, or-
feast begins at 6 p.m. And so you have an entire morning/day to be able to prepare to a degree.
Okay. Well, Theodric is also going to be buying a new outfit to at least look semi-presentable. He can't show up in front of royalty wearing his bloody and battered chain corselet and, linen clothing.
I would beg to differ. I think it looks good.
So
the
do you?
fancy elf doesn't want to be fancy for the fancy feast?
He is fancy. He's
You're
inherently
already... Okay,
fancy.
he's pre-fancified. I'm not. I'm a country bumpkin.
Do you
buy DLC to
do you
get
want to
fancy.
go
It comes
with
it.
Jalen and Feanor to go
Absolutely.
shop? Okay, cool. So you do so. You go shopping, and there are a number of things that could catch your eye. So there are a couple of almost like really nice tunics that you could purchase. Various colors, pretty maneuverable and movable. You could go the route that both Feanor and Jalen have, and have kind of almost more of like a suit type of jacket. For that. By the way, Jalen, did you decide to purchase the suit for 3 silver pennies?
What color is it?
So there's a gray one, and then there's a black one. So very basic.
That is pretty basic. In that case, I think I'll go for a dress.
Okay.
In like
There's-
a midnight blue, if I
There
can
is
find one.
absolutely that. And actually, this seems to be a very popular color amongst
Well,
nobles.
if it's popular, I don't want it.
No. Amongst nobles that are there, but nobles aren't necessarily invited to this feast.
Look, if a black suit is good enough for John Wick, it should be good enough for
Who is this John Wick fellow
You don't have a
mentioned?
dog, do you?
a
Neither
powerful
does John
warrior
Wick.
of
Never
Rohan.
mind.
I wish I'd like to meet him.
What color is Feanor wearing? Out of
I'm not wearing my suit jacket, but I'm wearing like I think I had a green undershirt, like a satin green one, dark brown pants, fingerless gloves, a white shoulder half cape, and my deer mask, like on the other shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just like, he went and found the things that Jalen didn't want him to wear and went, yes, unsupervised.
Nick, is there any way that you could turn down your mic a little bit, blowing out my eardrums, my dude?
That is just my vocal cords. I apologize.
I love it, but oh boy.
So, the tunics, what colors are there?
So tunics, they come in a variety of colors. You can get a nice forest green. There's a number of kind of tan almost. There's some like very kind of like darker brownish yellows. And there are actually some nice like black, almost kind of satin ones.
Any red ones?
Red ones, yeah, absolutely. And there's a number of colors. So there's like a burgundy, kind of classier looking. There's even brighter reds to a degree, but the brighter colors are actually going to be a little bit more expensive.
Okay, well, Theodoric is going to pick up a nice burgundy tunic
Perfect.
and a new, clean set of breeches.
Perfect. And the total of that is going to be 2 silver pennies, for 1 for each.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Jalen, for your dress, were you thinking the midnight blue or another color?
Do they have purple?
They do have purple.
Like
And
like a
purple
dark purple?
purple is a color of Dale too. So it's a part of the royalty colors that exist in Dale. So it would be very fashionable to wear that.
Would it be appropriate to wear that?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
As the lore master, I think that would be very fitting.
Okay. Can't go wrong if I go with the lore master. I will take that.
Perfect. That'll be
If they
for
have, like any
Mhm.
side combs or decorations for my hair, that would be useful too.
Yeah, sure. You can purchase all of that and add that's basically 1 silver penny for that, and so it'd be a total of 5 silver pennies for the dress, and then any hair accessories, whatever you want for that. So
Yeah.
feel free to customize as you wish.
I guess while they're shopping, since everyone's got to do some shopping, Valineth is going to quickly look for any more herbal remedy shops. that are selling.
Yeah, so this is a busy day because there aren't a ton of events that are going on. You could tell that everybody is doing their best to try to buy up whatever is left before the festival is over after today. And so I'm gonna have you make a investigation check as you look around for a shop that could potentially sell such things.
Okay, investigation. I think I'm pretty good at that. Yeah. All right. Not bad. 13.
13. You look around, and there are a number of shops that do kind of pique your interest, but none of them really have anything that will like heal HP as far as that goes. But there are a couple that maybe you're a little bit familiar with. there's actually a necklace. It's a dried kind of flowered necklace, so it's of king cup. And essentially what it does is if you wear that, you get luck for 1d4 plus 1 days. And so lucky is basically you can re-roll and take the second roll of what that is. So
That's pretty good. So every day you get one?
So no. So for the king cup, it basically you wear it and you roll 1d4 plus 1. As long as you wear it for that long of days, it works, and then it no longer has effect because it wilts and dies. So
Okay.
so
All right. Well, sounds good. And how much is that?
so that is going to run you in the price of 12 silver pennies.
Hello, good sir. I am an elf from far, far away. What is it you have here to sell?
Oi! Fancy seeing an elf like you here. I hear that you've done pretty good in some of these competitions. Trust me, I know. I've kept an eye on all of the victors that are around here. You guys are quite celebrities, if I do say so myself. The entire city's abuzz with your deeds and your prowess on and off the battlefield.
Yes, I would say celebrity in name, however, celebrity in goods I may not be. I am just an average Joe like anyone out there. I see you have this wonderful necklace of flowers. King's cup, may I add?
It seems like you have a good eye for the healing arts. You see that this serves much more than just a simple decoration to be adorned upon the neck.
I see that, yes. I am quite familiar with it. I have, my mother often uses it in her healing as well. What would you be willing to let it go for?
12 silver pennies.
12 silver pennies. And he thinks to himself, and he's scratching his head, and he's like, how long have you had this in particular item?
This particular item came in 2 days ago. It probably has, would last for a few days as soon as it's adorned. It's a very delicate necklace, and so you can't wear it for too long, but it does provide, and some would say it even serves as a lucky charm.
Yes, it does look quite lucky indeed. However, unfortunately, I am an elf of Rivendell. However, I do not have the riches of an elf of Rivendell. Is there any way for one of the a victor's discount?
A victor's discount?
Just ever slight.
From what I heard, you won quite a bit of prize money. I won't offer a discount just because of who you are. However, and he looks at you, if you do me a favor, perhaps we could reduce the price a little bit.
Why, of course! He's all gung-ho about doing some favors. Yeah.
So
what
you have
kind of favor is it?
you have earned yourself a seat at the table tonight inside the palace, that is correct?
Why, yes, that is one of the rewards that we got for winning the competition.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, there is going to be a merchant in there this evening. A merchant from Dale. And this man, from the looks of him, he looks to be actually a merchant from Lake Town. A merchant from Dale. If you run into him, tell me, what are the kinds of things that he is looking for? I hear he pays quite a wealthy price for special artifacts, and as you can see here, I've got quite a bit of goods here. This man has the name of Lockman.
Lockman. What quite an appropriate name, being from Dale, I should say, or Lake Town, you said. Yes, I shall use my elvish silver tongue to get the information you so acquire, good sir. So, after that happens, how much would this be?
If you can get me good information about the types of things that he is willing to purchase, about the types of things that he is also willing to sell and possibly part with, let's just say 2 silver pennies.
2 silver pennies off the price.
2 silver pennies total.
Oh, total! Why, my good sir, we have a deal! And he puts out his hand.
And before he shakes, he says, "And if you give me the goods, if you give me the correct information, this should be quite a deal for myself." And he goes ahead and he shakes your hand.
All right, sounds good.
Perfect. Awesome. So you can't collect that until afterwards. So he'll have it, but who's gonna set it aside for you just in case?
Freaking side quests, I love it. All right.
Perfect. All right, so time passes. As you guys shop, you all prepare and you get ready for the evening. You do know that the feast itself actually starts at 6 p.m. sharp, and the gates actually open a half hour beforehand. So the question to the group of you is, do you wish to show up perfectly on time, a little bit late fashionably, or would you like to show up as early as possible?
I vote we aim for like 5 to 10 minutes after the gate opens.
What do y'all
I
think?
concur with that. A fashionable procession indeed.
Well, it means we'll be there, we'll be on time with enough time left to mingle, if we choose. But we won't be standing at the gates.
Fair.
Yep, sounds like a plan. Means we'll be able to get, if we're late, we'll probably be sitting at the very opposite end of the table than the king. So, this might be a good chance for us to get a seat nearby. Maybe we could talk to some of the other companions that we've met along here.
Maybe Elstan will save us a seat. He seems to like us.
Yes. You might save Theodric a seat and, bumps him.
He's hoping.
And so you all get prepared and all ready, and you are all well prepared. If anything, you're kind of sitting around the missing scale, just waiting for your time to depart and leave. There's a little bit of excitement that's boiling up inside you. Yes, Jalen.
I have a question.
Yes.
Last time I dressed up all fancy, Valineth didn't recognize me.
Valineth, do you recognize her?
Sorry.
Are we all together? Did this just happen suddenly?
Well, the day has gone by. You guys have all gotten ready, and you've all decided to meet down. This is probably about an hour before in the missing scale. So you about have an hour before you have to be at the gates going in.
Well, this was described to me by Theodric that it was, in fact, Jalen and Feanor when they did come back from their dance, and so I turned to Theodric and I give him a nudge in the ribs. I'm like, look at them, they look very sharp, don't you think? I hear purple is this year's pink.
Theodric is very baffled. Fashion isn't exactly a thing in Rohan. How can one color be another color? Purple is purple.
Well, you see, this dress and Jalen deserve each other. I think they do. All right. You look great, Jalen. You also look great, Fedor. You too,
Well,
Theodric. Look at you. You don't have your brown horse pants on these days.
My pants are not made of horse. They're
No,
just
no,
very
I know
nice
they are
normal
not.
pants.
I know, and they look great.
You guys all do look pretty sharp. Everybody's dressed up pretty fancily. Do you guys want to respond to that at all?
I'm just gonna. Feanor's just gonna shrug and walk off.
Just take his cape and whew,
Yeah.
off in the
Like,
breeze.
very exaggerated sigh from Jalen. But
Quick question: Is
He's just got
Feanor
style.
still wearing his mask, his stag mask?
It's on his shoulder, like very decorative.
I like it. I like it.
Cool.
Very majestic.
thank you, Valineth. You look very nice too.
Why, thank you. I'm wearing nothing but what I normally wear, and he does a Superman pose like this.
He looks nice. It's very nice, very
That's
fine,
the thing,
woven.
You always look very nice.
Yes.
Why, thank you,
There you go.
Jalen. That is very kind of you.
It's actually kind of a shock considering he's been wearing this into the melee in combat, and he took some wax at it, and it still looks pristine. It must just be really high quality. So you
The
guys,
powers of being a fancy elf.
yeah, that's true.
It's great. I love being a fancy elf.
Legolas never looked like he had a hair out of place either. Like,
That's true. Even while chasing the hobbits to Isengard.
I mean, Orlando Bloom is peak. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. But you guys, as you gather and, you know, the anticipation arises, something that kind of strikes each of you is you're all... There's a little bit of nerves that are inside. You have seen from a distance a lot of these royalty, and maybe very few occasions. For example, Fëanor may have run into Thranduil or something like that. But it's very, very rare that each of you have been able to be in like this close of contact. Yes, Jalen and Fëanor actually did get a chance to speak with King Bard for a little bit, and also his bride. What was her name? Una. And you guys had the opportunity to be able to do that and realize and kind of a little bit relate to them. But there's a lot of royalty that's going to be here. And so not necessarily nobles, but like very famous royal family people who will be here. So there's a little bit of that inside that, you know, maybe you want to try to impress or, you know, maybe just enjoy yourself. But it's kind of that balance that you have to strike within yourselves. But you make your way over to the front gates, and the front gates, by the time you arrive, have already been opened, and you don't see anyone currently walking in. However, you do hear noise and laughter and whatnot coming from within the front doors, to which there are around 4 guards, very fully dressed in Dalish knight armor, standing at the door, to which you approach, and they said... they look at you, like, knowing who you are, but they're like, invitations, please.
Yeah. I'm gonna, like, have... Fëanor's actually gonna, like, take a few steps back and kind of, like, let everyone else go in to present theirs. But yeah.
Cool. And so you all go and you present, and immediately they don't really even look at it. They know who you are. You go in, and the 3 of you enter this very elegant room. There's a lot of colors, but the primary colors that are on the tapestries and whatnot are going to be purple and red. And you can see actually the sigil of Dale, which is kind of almost like a pseudo star pattern. And it's got all kinds of intricate designs woven into it. It's very beautiful. But Fëanor, you do come in after them. What do you wish to do with this?
When I show my invitation, which I'm assuming is just a bit different than others, I would say, I actually didn't get this one from winning a winning one of the activities. Who would I be able to speak with about who actually sent this to me? Is there an advisor or someone that I might be able to meet inside that might be able to give me some more answers?
They take a look at it, and one of them offers out their hand as if to grab the letter from you. Do you offer it to him?
Yeah, why not? He's one.
He takes it and he reads the letter, and then he looks and his eyes widen. Well, this says that it has been signed by the Lord King Bard himself. This is a personal invitation. There are only a few of these that were actually given out. This is a very, very tight-knit dinner, tight-knit feast. You must be someone of importance. Wow. Yes. And to think that you have also won and participated very proudly in a lot of these. You must be a great warrior of legend. We should be looking up to you, I think. And the other ones just kind of like chuckle to themselves and say... or looking down, and then they all joke, and it's all in good fun, and like all that kind of stuff. But
so okay, thank you. That does help.
As far as who you would talk to, I would assume King Bard. However, since you are unable to sit at his table, the only chance and opportunities you might be able to talk to him is at the very end of the feast. This feast has a very strict seating assignments once you have chosen those seats, and you are to remain there except to go up and receive more drink, more food, to however you desire. But I do not believe that this invitation gives you the ability to go approach the front table where the royalty do sit. However, wait until afterwards and he might approach you.
Thank you. I'll be sure to let my companions know that as well. The rules of the night.
Wonderful. And
I'm gonna head in.
you head in. And so this is actually wonderful. You can see probably around, actually a similar amount of people to the duel. Around like, so it's 72 people specifically, very specifically, but around 80 you can see. So similar kind of size to the melee, and the number of these people actually fill this palace hall. And so there are a number of tables, and I actually have a little thing to be able to show you guys here. So there are a number of tables that are set up along this hall. So you can see around kind of this circle area, this is where the kind of the main head tables are going to be located, is here. Sitting up at the very front, you can see King Bard, and to his right is Queen Una, and actually to his left is the Master of Lake Town. Feanor, you're the only one who is actually familiar with who the Master of Lake Town is, as he is very new. His name is Mortigar. You've never met him, but you know of him with your time in Lake Town. And so he was actually recently appointed by the people of Lake Town of Esgaroth, and he was actually very strongly backed by King Bard. Apparently they knew each other when they were both citizens of Lake Town. And so he stands there and he seems to be chatting happily with King Bard. And around these tables here at the side, so sitting in these two seats that you see is actually King Thranduil, and next to him is Prince Legolas. They are just the two of them together, and they seem to have a set of actually different like utensils, silverware, cups, everything from actually the rest of the group. These seem to be made of some kind of silver metal, where the rest of it is actually made of gold. And so it seems like that is their preference. And then sitting actually at this far table over here is two people. So you have King Dain Ironfoot, king under the mountain of Erabor, previously king of the Iron Hills. And he is sitting with actually his chief counselor, which none of you actually know his name, but he looks like some person that is of importance to him. So he is sitting to King Dain's left. And around these tables, so there are 6 seats that are available at these tables. Elstan is actually sitting closest to the center in this seat here, and he is flanked on all sides by the 5 knights that were fighting alongside of him, and they are all completely decked out in armor, just like knightly armor, almost as if like they're on duty, but they're very proud of what they bear on their sides. There are a number of tables that are available, and you have your choice at this point, as there are a number of the kind of the common folk who are mingling around before things begin in about 5 minutes.
Cool. I'm gonna take a look around for Boris and Clovis.
Absolutely. You look for a little bit, but you find them kind of... You kind of find them off to the side, kind of in this general area by one of the food tables, and they're looking at like the food, and they're kind of like talking amongst themselves. Wow, I've never eaten like this in my life. What are you talking about? Are you insulting my cooking? And then they're just like kind of like bickering like a married couple that they are. But they see you, Jalen, as you arrive, and they're like, if it isn't our favorite dancer from way back out west. It's nice of you to show up perfectly on time. See? And then actually Clovis, she kind of nudges him and says, see, I told you we should have shown up a little bit later. People think we're desperate if we show up early. And he's just like, well, I'm just excited for the food here, of course. And of course, very excited to be able to join.
It makes you look very eager for what's to come.
Ah, that's it. That's what I thought. That's what I thought indeed.
This type of opportunity, how long does this come? Once in a lifetime?
Once in a lifetime, and we have both you, Jalen, and Feanor to be able to thank for this.
As much time as possible, just soak in everything.
And they
let's be
do.
honest, if we hadn't been there, then you would have won easily. You should have won, in my opinion. You knew the dance far better than us.
Make a performance check for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
The
I'm being
platitude.
genuine. Okay, performance. There we go. My jack of all trades. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's a 21.
21. They're just completely like overcome. Your words are far too kind. Clearly, you're a much better dancer than us, even beating us at the dances of our own people. However, we are very, very happy indeed to be able to join you for this magnificent feast with such kindly folk.
Yeah, I'll introduce them to Valineth and Theodric and all their broodiness.
Val was talking to the archer who had shot the arrow through his hand, and when Jalen calls Valineth over, she sees from the back that she's standing with two really short people, and he calls out, Jalen. Oh, Jalen! It seems like you found some children here. Oh, weren't they so cute? And then he sees the beard of the one, and he's just like, "Oh, why my mistake, good lordly dwarves."
I am so sorry. Please ignore him. He's an idiot.
Make a traditions check at disadvantage, Valineth.
Valineth, how could you?
That's what he does. Let's see. Traditions, you said?
Mhm.
At disadvantage? Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. Traditions check. I'm pretty good at those, though. Oof. Alright, alright. I was the same, 11.
11. They look up at you. Oi! I hear that you're one of those fancy elves all the way out west. Probably close to Jalen, and the other one jumps in. Oh, you've probably seen your fair share of even hobbits. We can't be that much different to you. And she has a beard too. It's shorter, but she has a beard as a dwarf as well. And they say, the name is Boris, and the name is Clovis. At your service. And they give this really deep bow to where their beards just like hang to the ground.
Yeah, Valineth reciprocates and he says, "Oh, I am so sorry for the mistake. Yes, I do see my fair share of hobbits and whatnot. Dwarves, not so much. I was just taken aback. Jalen is very good with children. I just assumed. I just need to learn not to assume. I apologize."
And Boris, he chuckles deeply. You know what happens when you assume.
Oh, yes, I do know. Oh, yes, they do tell me that you make a donkey of other people.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Indeed. Oh, who is
Oh,
this?
am I that donkey?
And who is this? They point over to, they gesture towards Theodric.
Theodric gives a deep bow and says, I am Theodric of Rohan. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Boris, and then, Clovis. And they bow, same bow, at your service. And they say, it was very wonderful to be able to see you all participate in your many events, but that melee, I was at the edge of my seat. Well, I guess we were standing, but it was incredible to behold. It seems like you have been a company fighting for, I can't even imagine how long. Not only are you graceful on the dance floor, great with a bow, amazing at riding horses, but you're well coordinated as well. It's as if you were made for each other.
Thank you for your praises.
Does he say that to the wife?
No. That was Clovis speaking, wasn't it? I thank you. I thank you for your praises, man.
It is very much a pleasure to be in the great company of wonderful heroes here in Middle-earth. And hopefully we can
Great
call each
hero,
other friends.
Unfortunately, does not equate to great manners. I'll school them later.
Oh, no need to be worrying. Us dwarves aren't known for manners, actually. But, well, you're making us feel at home, actually. We, us dwarves, we don't have a lot with palace halls and great food. I mean, we have great food, but more feasts. Less dinner parties. But this is nice.
Just walked in, can I walk up and behind him and give him a big slap on the back?
You do. Go ahead and make an athletics check for me.
Yeah, a 10.
You slap and you just hear like a thud as it goes across the shoulder and it knocks his shoulder forward a little bit. It's like, Ah, ha, ha, there's the man of the hour. Oh, looking sharp. And he's kind of just like looking. And Clovis, she says, well, you look very nice. Actually, this look seems to suit you a little bit more.
Yeah, I can move a little bit better, and I do like a big squat, like a couple of big squats, like, yeah, Jalen, I don't know why you didn't want me to do this. Starts doing some star jumps, but anyway, mobility aside, I feel a bit more comfortable in this.
You look fantastic, Fanel.
Jalen, Theodric, and Valineth, I'm gonna have you make perception checks for me.
There's better not be anyone stealing our stuff.
Oh, it's already happened. It's okay. At this point.
I got an 11.
Okay.
I got 19.
19.
I got an 18.
18.
Is his pants squat proof? That's the question.
His pants look up to this point somewhat squat proof. And Theodric's really making sure that that's the case because he doesn't notice anything else that's going on. But Valineth and Jalen, you actually, as kind of you're making this a little bit of a commotion, very eager, hearty high fives. You actually look around and you notice that a lot of the people that are here seem to be total strangers, and you can see that they're barely exchanging any kind of anything with each other. In fact, you can actually see that a few of them are looking towards you almost envious to a degree, but still like holding back. And then there are actually others that are like clearly like guffawed at the fact that you're acting like this in the presence of the king. So you have like a mixture of both. But as you do look around, you do notice that there are a mixture of all the races of Wilderland. So there are a decent number of dwarves, not just Boris and Clovis. Definitely the fewest that are present here are actually elves. The only elves that are present outside of the two of you are actually Legolas and King Thranduil. There are no other woodland elves that are present here. There are a number of men of Dale, those men and women of Dale, men and women of Laketown. You see kind of similar faces of maybe some of the dwarves that you saw maybe on the first day. It's actually quite exciting and everybody's a buzz, but everyone is kind of playing like this game of how do I interact with everybody? Because it was invite only or winning your position here, it seems that you've already built camaraderie amongst some of the group, but everybody else just doesn't really know how to react. But the time is nearing, so if you guys want to go ahead and find your seats, you can do so. You have any table to choose from, I'll allow you to be able to do so. So of all the tables that surround this area, where do you wish to sit?
Well,
Before we leave,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Before we leave, Theodric would like to turn to Boris and just be like, I must admit, Sir Boris, I too find this level of pageantry unfamiliar.
Pageantry? Yes, it's quite unusual indeed. In fact, actually, the last time that I experienced this, he starts going off into a tale as you guys walk together about, he ventured all the way over to the Blue Mountains at one point, and he was actually invited by the elves of Linden to some kind of feast, but he wasn't, dressed at all for the occasion. He was totally out of place, and then he just keeps going on and on about that. But you guys make your way over to a table. Which one would you guys like to choose?
I think that we should go for one of the ones that are higher up and one of the higher tiers. That way we can observe the whole event.
That's a great idea.
I do not want to be sitting behind... I'm vertically challenged as it is. I do not want to be sitting behind someone as tall as Valineth and just have my whole view blocked.
Oh, I feel quite offended, good Sir Feanor.
Good.
This brings up another question. Shall we all sit together, or shall we spread ourselves about, as in to cover more ground?
What are we covering ground for?
In my experience, there is no point.
There's no point.
Pageantry this is, and everyone is an actor playing their role in a grand scheme that is society.
Oh, you may be right, Jalen. I haven't had my fair share of these fancy endeavors as well, but my best advice is to just be yourself. Isn't that right, Theodric?
No, that's terrible, terrible advice.
No, I think Valineth's onto something. I would just rather hang out with all of you.
I have 17 tutors that would say different. But for now, let's go up here.
Well, you should get a doctor to look at that.
What?
Oh,
17 tumors? Jesus.
maybe do I need to take a look? Oh, okay.
Tutors. Fainor.
I do believe that Jalen may be correct in just being ourselves may not be the way to go here. Generally, at a feast in Rohan, there's copious amounts of drinking, standing on tables, fist fights.
I
I,
will
I,
say.
don't see
I
any
will
negative so
say.
far.
Okay. In all fairness, this is not a
I don't-
typical
I don't think that that's what we
social
do
event
here.
for me. This is different. It
We could be
may well be.
translators.
It may well be perfectly fine to be yourself, but if you look at everyone else, they are playing the
Boring.
roles. So to
Can I actually look around and see how everyone else is acting?
Yeah.
Because like they all got the perception check for. I have not been looking at how other people
Right,
are
right,
acting at all.
You do. I'm gonna say you're not being sneaky about it. You're being quite obvious about this. And so you look, and everybody, you know, they have a kind of this like weird kind of like high, like, you know, good postured facade of, oh, can I sit here? And they're like pulling out chairs for each other and like trying to get to know. But anyways, the questions are, do you want to sit over here up on the higher tiers, or do you want to sit down here on the higher tiers?
I was thinking, I'm not broadcast. I was thinking we
The
sit like
first one.
here.
Yeah, no, that's.
That's close to
agree
the
that-
action.
That's
maybe.
directly opposite to where I was thinking.
Look, that's close to the action.
I mean,
Th-
they're
This one
both
we're
pretty
hidden behind
close
pillars.
to the action. It's
We're
just
hidden
whether
behind
we want
pillars.
to
There's
sit
pillars
there.
here. There's pillars here.
Maybe
These are
Fëanor
pillars.
would like to sit next to his kindred folk of the Woodland Realm. How's that
Yeah.
sound, Fëanor?
All right. I will let you have the pick. We'll go with this one.
I do like the advantage of being up higher, but I may get a chance to speak to Prince Legolas and King Thranduil. However small that chance may be, reminisce of home. It has been a long time.
Quick question, Lord Master. Do I see this Lockman fella? Have I noticed?
He didn't give the merchant they were talking about earlier didn't give you any details about who this man could be.
Nice. All right. Well, it's time for Super Sleuth Valenev
Oh, God.
afterwards.
I'm gonna have you, as you're looking around though, make an investigation check for me, and you're gonna be doing this normally, no advantage, disadvantage. So,
Can I assist?
yeah, if you want to go ahead and say that that's who you're looking for, Valineth, do you
Yeah,
wish to
is.
divulge?
I will. Yes. So I actually found this absolutely beautiful King's Cup flower, and you know what? I'm on a side quest of sorts in order to find a man named Lockman. And I don't know any details about him, but he seems to be a buyer of high price, and so I want to find him.
Go ahead and make this at advantage, Valineth, with Jalen
Thank
helping.
goodness that's advantage. Thank you, Jalen.
Can we get a buddy cop spin-off with Valineth and Fëanor on the mean streets of Gondor?
Oh my god.
Investigation. All right, the second one is. Oh well, I'll take the first one. That was an 8
8, okay.
total.
You look around and you both look. All of these men, that's pretty much all you know, is like, this is a man from Dale. Look relatively the same. Especially the ones from Dale, as they tend to wear kind of Dale-ish style clothes. And actually, Theodric is wearing somewhat of Dalish style clothes with his kind of red tunic.
I called to Fëanor. I do know that he is from Lake Town. Do you happen to know what a Lake Town man looks like?
No. He's from Dale.
Oh, he's from Dale.
Mm. The man you were talking to earlier was from Lake Town.
Oh, it's from Lake Town. Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I don't know. They all look the same to me.
Well, how about this? We go up to the seats up here, like so I pointed to these ones up this side, and perhaps you may be able to get a better view from up there, and we can see the proceedings.
So,
I like that idea.
question: are you going here or here? Because the tables back here are going to be behind Thranduil and Legolas. The tables here are behind Dain and what looks to be some kind of counselor.
Well, maybe Fëanor will be able to see a little bit better behind Dain and the counselor. However, if he wants to talk to Legolas and Thranduil, maybe that's. Yeah.
I don't know. If there are pillars on this side as well, we'll sit over where Jalen fought behind
Cool.
Legolas and the king.
Perfect. So you guys do so. There are 8 seats total here, and so the 4 of you go actually with Boris and Clovis at your side. What is going to be the seating arrangements? And so as you can see, kind of a little bit zoomed in, there's 2 people per bench. How are you going to sit?
Anyone have any preferences?
Well, I would like to talk to King Leg or to Prince Legless and King Thandril if I had the opportunity. Who wants to sit with me? Huzzah!
I guess I'm resigned to this fate.
Oh, I don't like how you think.
I'll sit next to him.
All right, so which seats? The ones that are facing kind of to the back or to the front here?
The ones facing like inwards, so I can see like the king.
Okay.
Got it.
The king.
For the last 2 spots, can I get scan the crowd and see if I can find audience member number 3?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
The legend will never die.
100%. I'm so glad you brought it up because I was going to just bring it up. So you scan the crowd for audience member number 3, and you can see that everybody is out with some kind of like the pageantry. Most people have found their way, but standing directly in the middle here, kind of looking around dumbfounded, kind of like that John Travolta meme, like... yeah, kind of like what's going on. You see audience member number 3. If you wish to invite audience member number 3 over, you are able to do so.
He
Yeah,
wanted to
and
sit
then-
next to King Thandril anyways, didn't he?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I know nothing about
Who
this
was this in chat? Who was this, by the way?
It was
Akari.
Ikari.
He's not here
I
today.
don't think it's in chat right now.
As I'm watching Jalen wave this person down, I'm gonna be like, no, we're not doing this again. Not again. We do not know this person.
Yes,
you have
we
made
are.
this.
Happening.
Oh,
You
Playnor!
wear
He's
your
a
silly
good friend
clothes,
of
I
ours.
will invite whoever I like to this event.
As he passes, I'm assuming, oh gosh, what's his name? Who's the guy who's sitting there? Elstan. As he's passing Elstan, is he fanboying over Elstan?
Who is this?
That's who he was. Yeah, that's who.
Audience
who
member number
Oh,
3.
Ikari?
audience number 3 lost all
Yeah.
of his money on. Was
Yeah.
Elstan.
Yeah, he kind of looks, and it's almost like this side glance of, as it follows Jalen up to the table and kind of awkwardly sits down. It's this young man who you can tell is just like completely out of place. Is here, has like this like a little flower in his lapel. And he is there, and the flower itself is kind of start to wilt because of the cold outside. And he sits there and is just like, Thank you for the invitation. It's much appreciated. I felt a little bit out of place back over here. By the way, my name's Ikari. It's nice to meet you.
I'm gonna sit next to Akari so he doesn't feel left out.
Okay, which seats are we sitting at? So
good.
So we have Valinith and Feanor sitting in these 2 seats. Where else are we? So who's sitting back behind here, here, and here?
Okay. For the sake of not blocking anyone's view, as I am a lot taller than everyone else,
Mm.
I'm going to sit in the back.
Okay.
So that nobody has to try and look over me to see any royalty or anything that's happening.
Okay. So which seat would you like to take back here?
The back. Oh, I'm not. There we go. This one, like up back here.
Perfect. So you go ahead and you sit on the far end.
Yes.
Cool. I'm gonna sit on the south end, if up is north.
Let's not
Just
grab
like
this.
the end of the table.
Well, someone's grabbing. No grabbing. Why are people grabbing?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Here, I gotta lock this. There we go. We're gonna lockmin this in.
Lock 'em in, boys.
Haha. Or Locklin. A lot of Locklomans going on here. Okay, sorry.
We got Lochlin, Lockmin,
Loch Ness.
Lock and loaded.
All right. Okay. So perfect. You sit back in this corner. Who do you want to sit next to you?
By the way, the
Or
guest of the party
Jalen.
just
Akari just
arrived.
entered chat.
Ikari,
Akari.
Ikari, you are
Ikari
a named
jo-
character officially in this campaign.
Oh, it seems that mentally I'm finally here and present now. I am ready for this feast and this party.
And I said, would Theodric have the empty seat because Boris and Clovis would sit next to each other?
So wait, who's sitting next to Theodric?
I think it's an empty spot.
Yeah, it's an empty spot.
Because we have 7.
Yeah.
All right, Jalen, where are you sitting? Here? These two?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
sitting there with audience member number 3.
All right.
Ikari.
Ikari. And so you sit there, and Boris and Clovis, they actually sit here. So it leaves an empty seat actually next to Theodric. However, it doesn't take long before someone does occupy this seat. It is a man, and he looks to be wearing very, very expensive, like gold filigree, like running down kind of like the sides of almost like this like cape kind of shawl thing that he has, almost priest-like. And he actually has this this dusky kind of almost like light brown, almost bordering blondish hair, and it's like swooped over to the side like very, very fancily. And he sits down and says, "Is this seat taken?" And he looks at Jalen. "My, you look rather ravishing today."
As it happens, mate, that seat is taken by you. Go ahead and sit down.
Ah, indeed. I shall. It seems that you are all the talk of the party here, and being the host of this party, I feel like I will have a seat here with the party itself, I guess. So he has a seat, and he sits down, and he kind of rolls his sleeves up, and he sits, and he's just like, and he just sits there smiling at all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Ah!
of Rohan.
Good evening. Good evening. How rude of me to introduce myself. I'm so used to everybody knowing who I am. And, like, I'm going to have you all make insight checks on this guy.
This guy's like Valinith on crack.
I don't know if I like this guy.
I got a 15.
15?
I got a
Inside.
7.
There you go.
Let's see.
Ha.
Well,
Got
that's a
9.
natural 1.
Natural 1.
Oh,
All of you are just bewildered by this man. And then Theodric, he looks over just like very casually, like, "Hello," introducing yourself. And he goes, "It's very nice to meet you." I'm sorry, did you introduce yourself?
Yes.
drifted, yeah.
Theodric, my name is Lockman, and I am here as one of the party host, as I had mentioned, but also one of the merchants here in Dale. I'm actually one of the main merchants who serves King Bard in quite a lot of his endeavors. It is because of my trade and whatnot that we are able to prosper as a city and build so much. What you get, Theodric, from your general insight is this guy, he has kind of like this highfalutin way of talking about himself, but there's something about him that seems very genuine about the things that he says.
Okay,
this is
so
just
no bad
normal.
vibes?
No bad vibes from him. The rest of you are unsure. Valinith, you're just like bewildered by like, who is this? Like, I didn't hear his name. Like, what's going on?
What a beautiful man that is. Wow, I wish I was as gaudy as he was.
I'm sorry, are you saying this out loud?
Oh, of course, it's Valinith.
Straight to his face. Yeah, I love it.
Master Elf. The name is Lockman. It is very nice to meet you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance. As he reaches up, he lifts up his sleeve and kind of offers his hand like this to grasp your hand over the table.
And Valinith, in his elvish way, gives a deep bow. Why, Master Lockman of Dale, why, I am Valinith, son of Morbith. It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. And he doesn't.
Master Valineth, son of Morbeth. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. It seems you are one of the elves from the west, if I am not correct.
Oh, why, you are more than correct. I am from Rivendell.
Ah, Imladris, as your people call it. Yes, very familiar with those people. Never been there myself, but I've met quite a few travelers that have made their way through there. And all the stories, if you would sit down during this feast and you lend me some of the stories of your people, I will add them to my storage of memory secrets that I will be able to keep and then be able to tell at any random time that I please to impress the people that I do business with.
Why, of course. However, it doesn't look like there's a seat nearby. And I'm looking around, very nervous.
No, it's okay. We'll have plenty of opportunity to talk during this meal. We're just right across the seats from each other, so not to
That
worry.
is true. We'll enjoy getting to know my good sir here, Theodric. He is quite the gentleman, and he is quite the steed as well.
Ah, steed.
Yes.
Do people ride him?
Brown
He
horse,
has
of course
quite
they
the
do.
steed.
Yes.
Oh, has quite the steed.
Yeah.
Ah, indeed.
It's a bit hard
I was-
to talk over all the chat.
Yes, there's quite a lot here. And then he looks over and he introduces himself to Boris and Clovis, to which they both are like kind of like, hey, like, how's it going? He introduces himself over to Feanor. Feanor, do you wish to acknowledge him in any way?
Yeah, I go, hey, Valineth, weren't you talking about that you wanted to meet this guy? You said that something about him having, like, cool wares or something.
Yeah, I shout back to Feanor across the table. I'll get to that, my good sir. Business.
No, you're sitting right next to Feanor.
Oh, I'm like, yes, business has to wait, though. We have to be
Yeah.
polite.
Stand up and offer him my hand.
Oh,
Just
yes.
like leaning as far across the table as I can.
He stands up and he like leans over, kind of one hand like this, the other like bending on his wares to keep it from like touching anything on the table. And he's kind of like really reaching and bending over. Very nice to meet you. My name is Lachlan, Master Feanor of the Woodland Realm.
I grab his hand and I just shake it, like, and then just keep shaking. And I keep shaking. And
Yes,
then
yes.
I go,
And he's like pulling through, but like you can't. He's like, yes. Sorry, my back is a little bit stiff. If you may.
let go.
He does. He just like stumbles a little bit, and he says, "Nice to meet you, Master Elf." And he looks over across the table. Oh, you haven't said much. Lockman. I'm Ikari. It's nice to meet you. Indeed. And he leans over, and then finally he turns his gaze to Jalen, and he does this a little bit, and he says, "It's not every day that I see a nice young lady like you dressed in the royal attire of Dale around here. Don't tell me that you've lived in the city your whole life and I haven't known about you, my lady."
Okay, I won't then.
Oh, indeed. The name is Lockman.
Jalen Grinfold.
Ah, Jalen.
Pleasure to meet you, and I'll offer out my hand, just like flat out like this.
Lady Jalen. And he like kind of does this, and then he eventually like grabs it and like shakes it. Yes, it is a pleasure. And he like kind of leans in to like try to kiss your fingers. Just, do you let him?
I quickly withdraw my hand.
Oh, what is he doing?
No one wants a slobbering kiss on my hand, man.
I understand. Too soon indeed. Well, it looks like the party is about to start, and if we all will take our seats, I'm sure we'll get plenty of time to get to know each other. We have a very rowdy table here, and I'm very excited to talk to each and every one of you. So, without further ado, and he stands up and says, and he kind of points over, like with a hand over to King Bard, and then everything goes quiet on King. As soon as King Bard stands, there is no longer any more talking, and everybody just kind of quietly. He stands very proud and proper. However, Feanor, you see closely that this is like a situation where it's like he looks like clearly he's kind of forced into this, but he does seem genuine in the things that he is about to say. And as he stands up, the rest of actually the royalty stand up. So Thranduil, actually Legolas keeps a seat. So King Thranduil stands up, King Dain, and of course the Queen stands up. Una, and also the Master of Lake Town, he also stands up. And he addresses each and every one of you here. And he says, "It is with great pleasure that I welcome you all to this wonderful banquet. It is an honor to have you all gathered here tonight to share in this joyous occasion. As we sit here surrounded by the company of friends and loved ones, let us take a moment to appreciate the beauty of this day. Let us bask in the warmth of good company, delicious food, and the shared experience of being together. May this evening be filled with laughter, love, and memories that will be cherished for years to come. Let us raise a glass to each other, to friendship, to love, and to the beauty of life. Once again, welcome to this grand celebration. Enjoy the feast, and let us make this a night to remember. Everybody pulls their glasses up. Cheers! And then everybody cheers glasses and all that kind of stuff. And you see that this entire time, Jalen, Lachlan has not taken his eyes off of you, as he is the first one to offer his glass towards you.
I would expect no less.
Love this guy.
Tink. And then he goes to each side. He goes to Theodric next, then to the dwarves beside him, all the way over to Ikari. And then he tinks Valineth, and then he just raises his glass over to Feanor, as he clearly was really struggling to begin with to do that. Unless you want to force your way over, kind of like the child at the table, like Clinton.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, hey, I'm not missing out on this.
You do so. You all have a seat. Next standing, King Bard, he stands, and next you see the silvery-haired elf, and he begins to address. He kind of turns around and looks at each one of you, behind, forward, and all around, and he says, "As the king of the woodland realm, it is my honor and duty to address you all on this day. While this is a moment of celebration, the shadows of evil loom over us still, and the wicked creatures and the dark will continue to threaten our lands with hatred in their hearts. But I assure you, the north of Middle-earth shall not fall to their tyranny. As long as I draw breath, my people and I will protect our homes and ensure the safety of our allies." And he gives a small bow. "We shall not stand idle as our lands are threatened. Our archers are sharp, our swords are keen, and our spears are strong. Our armies shall not falter in the face of this evil. We shall fight with every ounce of our strength to preserve our lands and maintain the peace that we have fought so hard to achieve." He looks at each and every one of you again, kind of slow. The way he speaks, his canter is very elegant, very regal, deeply thoughtful, but there's this harshness in his eyes too. He continues, "But we cannot do this alone. I call upon the free peoples of Middle-earth to stand with us in this time of relative peace. Let us put aside our differences and work together to continue to combat the darkness of this world. Let us show the orcs and the shadow that we will not be defeated so easily as we have seen in the Battle of the Five Armies 5 years ago to this day. My promise to you, my friends, is that I will do everything in my power to protect the North and its borders. My people and I shall not rest until darkness is wiped from the face of these lands. We shall stand together, side by side, and emerge victorious." The speech is interesting. It's rather odd compared to King Bard's speech, as this is very dark and solemn, almost to the point where he focuses more on the combat and the continuing lingering darkness. This is actually something that Feanor, you know of Thranduil a little bit. His main focus and has been the safety of his people and the protection of the woodland realm. So this does not seem out of the ordinary, although it does stand a little bit in contrast. Yes, Theodric.
Can I make a lore check really quick?
100%.
I got a 6.
6. What were you trying to see what you could get from
It's just kind of a flavor. But like Theodric kind of leans over to Feanor and is like, he's talking a lot about unity and stuff, but wasn't the original reason he was here 5 years ago to like rob the dwarves?
Oh yes, quite indeed. Yeah, it was an old quarrel. Don't worry about it. Bad blood been cleared up.
Okay. Thank you.
And as he finished,
that was truly a naive question. It wasn't him being facetious. Or, like,
Feanor gave him 100% full answer. He wasn't like, he's like, oh yeah, of course you wouldn't know about what the elf king in the bloody Mirkwood's talking about.
Yeah.
And then he finishes his introduction by, "May the Valar guide us in our continued fight against the darkness." And he raises the glass. "To you all here, to friends, to companions, and to continued safety in the north." And he raises his glass, and all of you cheers. Very similar fashion. Next, King Dain Ironfoot, who actually, as he stands, he is taller than the average dwarf. However, there is a barrel that is placed at his feet, and he stands on top of this barrel, and so his knees and up are above the table as he addresses the crowd. "Distinguished guests, honored friends, and brave warriors of Wilderland. Today we celebrate a great victory that has been long in the making. For years, our people have scattered, divided, and threatened by the forces of darkness that seek to destroy us. But we have stood firm against and fought together, united as one people. And the victory at the Battle of the Five Armies is a testament to that strength. We remember those who have fallen." And he kind of bows a little bit. "Especially my cousin, Thorin Oakenshield." And then he puts his hand over his heart, and all of the dwarfs in the room bow solemnly, and for a good 10 seconds in silence. "Who made the ultimate sacrifice for our cause. His bravery and leadership inspire us all, and we must continue to honor his memory by protecting what he fought for. We must remain vigilant and united, for the shadow will always seek to engulf us. But tonight, let us put aside our worries and celebrate our triumphs. Let us raise a glass to unity and courage of the people of Wilderland, and to the hope that we can build a better future together. May our bonds of friendship and loyalty grow ever the stronger with each passing day. And may we always be ready to defend our homes and loved ones from the darkness that threatens us. Thank you, and cheers to Wilderland." As he is up, and then he goes and he, boom, smashes the person next to him, and his glass just shatters in his hand. "Well, let's see." And he goes and he grabs another glass. This is actually the third glass he's already shattered. And he's just like, "I'll get a drink one of these days." Everyone cheers, does their things. And finally, up at the front, you see the man that is at the right, or at the left of King Bard. This is the master of Lake Town, Mortigar. "My dear friends, fellow men, dwarves and elves, I stand before you today with a heart full of gratitude and pride." He kind of has this little smirk, kind of like a small smile on his lips. "It is a momentous occasion for all of us as we celebrate the unaffliction of Wilderland after the great battle of the Five Armies. This is a moment of victory, a triumph of unity and strength of our people. The fire-breathing dragon that wreaked havoc on our land and destroyed our beloved city of Esgaroth is now gone, and we have risen like a phoenix from the ashes. The resilience and courage shown by each and every one of us is truly inspiring. Together, we have rebuilt our city, and we have created a new era of prosperity. We have seen great deeds and sacrifices, and it is my duty to thank the valiant men, elves, and dwarves who fought and fell in battle. I would also like to pay tribute to my dear friend and ally, King Bard, for his unwavering leadership and strength during these times of turmoil, and even more so during the rebuilding in these times of peace. Today, we stand united. We can look forward to a future of prosperity and wealth, with Esgaroth as the head of trade in the north." And you can tell that there's a few of the people from Esgaroth that are in the crowd. They're like, "Hear, hear!" and very, very happy about that. "Dale as the stronghold of men." And then you can see all of Elstan and his men are just hammering their fists on the table, clearly not at all regal in any means. And he continues, The woodland realm and its many skilled artisans. And Thranduil and Legolas, they kind of look to each other and like give like a small bow to each other. And Erabor, and the sharing of its many riches. And the dwarves are like, ah! They like kind of just like laughing and just like, sharing my ass. And then just like all these kinds of things. We can see a bright future for all of us. Let us continue to work together, shoulder to shoulder, to protect what we have achieved and make our land a better place for all. Thank you, and may our friendship and unity endure forever. Cheers. And everyone cheers to these opening remarks. And with that, everybody has a seat and an assortment of people, all kinds of servants, all kinds of people, like very happy, excited to see, bring out on these central tables in the middle, on your tables, on these long buffet tables, everything, all kinds of foods, from amazing meat, wonderful, super fresh vegetables considering the season, fruits, which is incredible considering how far north you are, and an assortment of delicacies, of pies, goodies, sweets, and the feast itself actually ends up beginning. What do you wish to do in this moment? Do you wish to inquire anything from anyone at your table? So unfortunately during this time, it's going to be very difficult to get up and try to leave to go to the others, as pretty much it's pretty strict. I'm assuming Feanor explained everything to everyone.
Yeah, I would have been when we were sitting down.
Cool. Yeah, so what are you guys doing at this moment?
Well, Valineth wants to address the whole table, if he can.
All right.
Do it.
This will be good.
So he stands up with his glass in hand, and he says, "Cheers, cheers to new friends!" And he does a little drink of his.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Exactly.
Huzzah.
Wait, it's not there yet.
He's not there yet.
Oh, not there yet. Not there yet.
He's
So
not done.
Just more huzzahs for us in the end.
So he wants to say, I have come a long way in my journeys from Rivendell, and in my journeys I have never met such fine people. I feel very blessed to be in the presence of such wonderful and homely people. And he even gestures to Ikari as well as Lockman, including our new friends, and then he gestures to the dwarf, and our dwarven friends over here. Yes, of course. And he continues on.
Continue.
And he continues on, and he gives like a 10-minute speech to the entire table about how Middle Earth is a place that has wonderful people, and he feels very grateful to be in the presence of such wonderful people.
And in the process, Boris has already started eating.
Yeah.
He's just like,
So is Theodric. Theodric's also like flicking
That's
vegetables across the table at Feanor.
We
Like
did
he's gotten
20
bored
minutes of
a while ago.
And Valnith isn't even
He's got like he's just got some peas and he's just like
just like the flicking the bill of a veggie back at him.
yeah.
I'm shaking my head at this whole thing, but I've got a smile on my
and
face.
so is Lockman. He actually, as you're doing this, Theodric, he kind of takes his hand and he puts it on yours and he says, "Clearly, I don't know where you're from, Master, but this is a fork. We use it like this." And he puts the fork in your hand and he teaches you how to use it. And he says, "No, don't be afraid. It's okay. I understand. Sometimes it's so much easier to eat with your hands, more dexterous, I see. But in the proper way," and he begins like showing and like explaining all of the different forks and like the different.
Is there like a leg? Is there a leg of some kind of animal that I can just be like munching away on holding right now?
Yeah. There's like turkey, like that kind
Just
of stuff.
like
Okay, can I make
yes,
a quick performance?
Lady
check?
Jalen.
You will have a much better time if you just give up.
Ah,
Trust me,
Can I-
I have
Ah.
tried. Just let them do their thing.
Can I
Hmm.
make a
They're
quick
having a good
performance
time.
check?
Just tune
Go
it
ahead,
out,
Theodric.
bud.
Okay. It is an 8. Okay, Theodric would like to be like he's not a savage, but he is just being childish. He's lined four I don't know if I'm just going to tell you what I want to do, and you can say whether it worked or not. He's
Okay.
lined 4 peas up on like one on each prong of the fork, and he's going to try and like catapult all 4 at the same time at Feanor.
So I would say instead of a performance check, I'm going to have you actually make a dexterity check for me, just a straight
Can
dexterity.
I assist him by opening my mouth to try and catch a pea?
I wouldn't say that that's necessarily an assist because he's aiming towards you. You can like try to like catch them, but
Because
Yeah.
this is truly just trying to prove. Yes, I know what a fork is. Like,
Mm.
where is my dex? That's saving.
As this is going on,
there
Valinith
we
is
go.
still talking with his eyes closed, saying this manifesto that he's been thinking up all day.
That is a
Did fuck-
7.
I did
He
forget
has
that
no
he was.
clue what's going on. He has no clue. He's just talking. He's just talking.
That is a 7 on my dexterity check.
7.
Like,
You do so, and you line it up. You kind of take yourself away from Lockman, and you just kind of like give him like a look and then like a smirk. You put these on, and you just go boom as they go flying. As this is doing, Valinith, he is talking, and right in his mouth, a pea. One of the peas. And then another 2 of them like hit kind of like his shoulder, and the last one actually does go over to the table towards Feanor. Do you react to this at all?
Valinith? Yeah, he's like talking, and then just suddenly he there's a taste in his mouth, and he's just like, "Wow, I didn't know my words could be so sweet." And then he continues to talk.
And I'm gonna actually, Jalen, have you make a perception check for me.
Perception.
Perception.
Okay, this is gonna be bad. Oh no. Okay. 21.
21. You're very perceptive. As this happens, you almost kind of like lunge towards Valinith because you can tell the trajectory of this. If Valinith wasn't standing up, this is going directly to the table of King Thranduil and Legolas.
Theodric, come on, my dude.
But fortunately, Valinith blocks the 3 Ps.
I kind of wish I'd missed.
No.
And then he like finishes his speech, and then he looks, and there's peas all over. Like, what is happening here? And he realizes that no one was listening to his speech at all. They were just
I was trying to.
And Valinith notices. He's like, Jalen, wasn't that an inspiring speech? I've been thinking about it all day.
Yes. Yes, it was.
At this
Why,
point,
thank you, my dear.
Theodric smirks and holds up his drink and just goes, "Huzzah!" and just quietly goes back to eating.
And Valinith is just like, well met, my good sir, huzzah!
And as you do so,
Huzzah! Huzzah!
Lockman, he looks at everything that's going on, and he says, huzzah indeed. And he sees that, like, Theodric is now using his fork properly, and it's just like... He kind of looks at the rest of the table, and he says, clearly I chose the child's table. And he begins eating. And you could see, like, he's kind of, like, his heart kind of sinks a little bit as he's just kind of, like, picking at his food. Like,
Does Valinith hear this?
Mate,
Does Valinith hear
I would say I'm sorry, but I'm really not. We're just here to have a good time.
Can, as he said this, can I say, and can you believe that we came second in the melee?
We did that. We did that.
he just keeps picking at his piece.
Did Valinith hear this?
Yeah, Valinith heard it. Everyone kind of heard it. It was, like, under his breath, but loud enough for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
Childish? What do you mean? I was giving a speech. Did something happen?
Oh, no, huzzah to your speech, but, never mind. Never mind that. You said you had business to talk about. And he looks over at Ikari, and Ikari's just sitting there, hasn't even touched his food. He's just waiting. He's just like, huzzah!
You can eat now.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, we're all
Ikari.
done with the. Yep. You got enough food?
Yeah, he starts putting stuff on his plate. His plate was completely empty. He starts putting stuff on his plate, and he starts eating. And he says, sometimes I lose my appetite a little bit when dwarves are talking about arses and sharing arses. and he just continues eating. I don't really. He's just kind of like muttering to himself. But he's eating, and you could tell like he takes a bite. He takes a bite. It's the best food I've had in my life.
A man who's lost everything
Yep.
on a bet,
Just
enjoying
on
his
his
last
last meal.
meal. Oh
Yep.
my gosh.
Oh my gosh,
Enjoying,
Valna's gonna kill him? Like, like what's happening?
Why is it his last meal?
He lost all his money because he spent it all on the
his house.
on the
He
gas
lost
tank.
his wife, I'm assuming, as well, and his children. He lost everything. Except
The
for
only thing he had was that
alcohol.
invitation.
He starts putting dinner rolls into a bag.
Oh no.
It's
And
bad.
I turn to Ikari and I say, Ikari, what is it you do for an honest living, my good friend?
You see, I was an artist out in Dale. Unfortunately, when Smaug died and he landed on my house, I was able to get all of my family out safe, but it's been kind of hard since then. And we've been living actually over in Brokenstone since coming over to Dale, and it's been kind of difficult making a living. But you know, art does find a way, and there are a decent number of people with good eyes that be able to see to purchase my good works. But I don't know if you understand, but this very well could be my last good meal in a very long time, so I'm going to enjoy it if you don't mind.
Would you like some bear meat?
Okay, calm down now, Thanor. Calm down now. An artist, you say? In Rivendell, we don't necessarily paint or draw beautiful things, but we sing beautiful words and lyrics. I myself am not very talented at that, but I am a man of the arts and I love the arts. I would love to see them. Speaking of which, I hear Lockman over here is a man of fine taste as well, isn't that correct?
Fine taste indeed, my friend Valinith. And he kind of swirls like his drink around, and he... Good vintage, good vintage. And he's being very proper, like everything that he needs to do. Fine taste indeed, and as you can tell, like one bottle of this is probably more than the vast majority of those in Dale probably make in 2-3 years' time doing their wares. Enjoy it, friend. This is good stuff.
Well, maybe you're at audience with someone who is an appreciator of art as well. Maybe if at some point in the future, good old Ikari, maybe Lockman would be willing to take a look at your art and see if it's worth anything.
Absolutely, but you see, what I'm more interested in, as he continues to swirl around, like very fixated on like the taste of like this wine, what I'm very keen on is my business. I run in various rare trinkets, you know, potentially relics lost to legend. You know, you see, it seems that money can buy you a lot, but I find that these legendary artifacts are priceless. That's what I collect. Priceless works. And I find that everybody is willing to depart with a priceless object for some price. At least they're priceless to me, so I will pay anything for something of good cost. If you have painted something legendary, who knows? You might have a price too that I'm willing to. And he takes a sip, and you can tell his face is just like, oh, this is so good. and he takes his like fork and knife and begins to like tenderly cut his meal and delicately start eating as he's doing his.
Oh, a man of legend, I say. He's a man, right? He's not like an
Yes.
elf or anything?
I'm not a man of legend, a collector of legend.
Well, that's what I meant, yeah. A collector of legend. I am an elf. I mean, I'm not very old, as you can see. I'm not very old as an elf, only 777 years old. However, I have come across my fair share of artifacts. In fact, I happen to have had one stolen from me. Do you know of Numenor by perchance?
What man who doesn't know history doesn't know a thing or two about Numenor? Numenor was a great civilization of man, and at the turn of the Third Age, it seemed to they have all but vanished, with the last of their line gone for good. Rumor has it that descendants of this line still wander about the wilderness these days, but that's merely stories, I do say. The people of Gondor, the stewards down there, they seem to carry what's left of that Numenor line. You said you had a trinket there. Tell me, what kind of trinket? And he...
Well, I did have a trinket. I actually got it as a gift. However, I believe it was snagged by some hooligans, unfortunately.
Wait. He stops you. You are carrying an artifact of Numenor with you on your person and not locked up in your private safe back in your secure location where you currently live. He begins to take another sip, and he just looks at you, just like quite confused.
Well, it was a gift, as I did say. I actually got it on my way to Dale. It is a new acquiree. I did not have any time to put it in any secure location. My body is the most secure one that I have. And I am an archer, actually, and it feels really good. It feels really good on my arm when I'm using it.
Excuse me.
That's all I have to say.
It feels really good.
You're using an artifact of legend, something that could be hundreds, centuries of years old, and you are using it to stop a bowstring from slapping your arm.
I see your point, but here's how I look at it, especially when it comes to an artifact like a Vambrace. The quality itself of Numenor is absolutely amazing. As you can see, like I said, it feels so good on my arm. But aside from that, a man of legend, you do say. Have you heard the elven saying, I do not love the sword because of its sharpness, and I do not love the arrow because of its swiftness, but I love them because they are used to defend one another. Have you heard that before? I believe the same thing even when it comes to ancient relics. If I can use it and it can be of use to other people in need, then I will use it, of course.
There's another saying I like. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that is not what a ship is made for.
You all have very good points indeed. I'm going to have both of you actually make persuasion checks for me.
I'm not good at that.
While that's happening,
Get it, Jalen.
That's
Well,
okay,
that's
I got this, guys, I got this.
Theodric
That's
just goes, I don't know much about art and stuff like that.
Persuasion.
All great songs. But there's a Rohirrim back home who can burp the entire alphabet backwards. This is
That's pretty impressive.
Which alphabet? Yes,
Yeah.
I'd be more impressed if it was in Sindarian than the common tongue.
No,
Jesus.
in the common tongue.
It was a 5, by the way, for me.
I got
Five.
a 10.
5 and a 10. Well, if you acquire things for such collections as I do, they are, again, as I had mentioned, priceless. And if I were to lose something that was priceless, I'm afraid my life wouldn't be worth living at this point. But there's always something great additionally out there to find, and that's why I'm constantly seeking these things down. Valinith,
Yes.
if you were to acquire this Vambrace again, how much would you be willing to part with it? Upon
much
investigation, that is.
Upon investigation, well, I don't know what these kind of things are worth.
The priceless. Name a price.
They're priceless.
Name a price, and he pulls out kind of like a sack, and it's just like a loaded sack, and he kind of just flashes it a little bit and puts it away. I'm sure the price won't be a problem.
Well, I am not necessarily a man of money. Of course, I grew up in comfort in Rivendell, and so I haven't ever had to really worry about money, so I'm afraid money itself doesn't really tempt me all that much.
And that's where you and I are the same. Two minds think alike. Two great minds think alike. Money is just simply a means of getting the things that truly matter. As you had mentioned, Lady Jalen, this boat is not meant to be kept in a harbor, it's meant to be used. A boat is a boat. A boat is meant to be sailed. And a valuable art piece, a valuable, priceless piece of history, that is something to be put in a museum, something to be looked at, something to be learned about history throughout the ages. And when that's lost, little bit of history is lost. Does that make sense? You seem like a very bright woman. Actually, all of you seem quite bright, including,
Sorry.
He looks over, and I keep Feanor and I are just like tearing into meat. Just
Nah,
like,
can I be teaching Theodric how to do shots?
shots of wine, I guess, because that's what you're
Yeah,
being
yeah.
offered right now.
Yeah, but just boom, you're just doing as many of them as you can in a row.
All right, I'm gonna have, if you both do that, I'm gonna have you make Constitution saving throws for me.
I am all good for that. Let's do this. Let's go.
okay.
Jalen, yes.
I lost my
Oh no!
I got an 8.
I
Sorry,
got 4.
I got an 18.
Oh lord.
All right, for the rest of the evening, any conversation type checks that you make with anybody that are what doesn't matter what the check is, charisma, wisdom, whatever, the conversational checks, these are going to be made at disadvantage. Any perception checks you automatically fail.
That's just for him, right? It's not on me. Did I pass?
Theodric, yes, that's for you. Baynor,
I got
the way that your behavior is acting is detracting a lot of people from you. So you and I might not be getting drunk. You may not be getting drunk, but if you attempt to speak to anybody, they're going to see the behavior that you're having at here, and it's not going to serve you too well.
Sweet.
So,
Anyways,
Jalen, yes.
I suppose that is correct to some extent, but where do you draw the line?
Ah, that's true. That's
Bow
true.
that the elves make for the next 100 years be locked away in a chest, forgotten about.
I knew I liked you. You're someone who, they apply their logic to reason. I am not a fighter, I'm not a warrior. Obviously, I'm not someone who could use something like a vambrace in the ways that perhaps a master archer such as Valinith, who won the archery competition, congratulations, by the way.
I was surprised myself.
Yes, wonderful indeed. The marksmanship of elves. Very impressive. But I will say, if I were to acquire such a piece, it would not serve me very well in combat, as I do not wield bows, I do not wield swords. But what I do wield is something of, well, at least I find useful. Influence. Power. And, I don't do it tyrannically, if that's what you're thinking. I do it because I want to preserve history. Do you want to make an insight check?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Alright, I was gonna say something anyway.
No, please, go. You can go ahead and say something.
Okay, I'll do that first before I forget. Okay, See, that is where we warriors differ on opinion from you collectors. You find an item priceless, because you're preserving it, preserving history, preserving culture.
Indeed.
Which is a very valuable thing.
Yes.
To be sure. We find them valuable because they save lives, which are infinitely more valuable than stuff.
You got a point there. What was the result of your insight check?
You know what? I don't even know. I didn't even look at it. Insight 18.
18. Deep wisdom to be had. You can tell he's genuinely impressed with the sentiment. However, he does look like somebody who is not necessarily, again, he mentioned he's not maliceful. He mentioned he's not tyrannical, and you get that impression from him. But also what you get from him, what you can see within, is he doesn't know anything other than the money that he comes from. And so the fact that you look at the fact of like saving lives, that he brings that up, he actually does take that point into consideration. He sits there and he thinks about it, and genuinely he's trying to cope with that. And he says, but you see, legendary artifacts, legendary items, they last forever. Same with the lives of these elves here. They live forever. That is until they confront something that, unfortunately, leads them to the demise that us all men have to face one day. And here, I feel my goal here on this, in this Middle Earth, is to be able to preserve history, to be able to take something that is legendary, something that is immortal, and continue it on for future generations to enjoy. Life and death, that's all a part of two sides of the same coin. We all die, tragically or naturally. But new life will come, and new life means new potential and new possibilities. Isn't it wonderful, exciting to think about it all? And these artifacts of history, who knows? Maybe at some point great evils will arise in this world and they will be put to good use, but we live in relative peace. As this whole celebration, it's to celebrate the destruction of the dragon. It's to celebrate the defeat of the orcs, the battle of the 5 armies. As he's getting like really excited thinking about this. This is the time. This is the time for someone who is a collector like myself, someone who does have wealth to be able to preserve these memories, to maybe save them for future people, but more importantly, save them just in case they're needed.
Quick question: would Valineth know about the Battle of the 5 Armies as far as like what kind of legendary items were used, that kind of stuff?
Probably not. You know about the Battle of the 5 Armies, but the only things that you probably would have a somewhat idea of are a couple of things, which are pretty much like the things that King Thranduil has, and the Black Arrow. The Black Arrow is like something that is part of the tale, part of the legend. So everybody knows about that.
Okay. Well, Valineth speaks up. While that's all well and good, and I appreciate you for preserving history, I think that is definitely quite important. However, for example, this story of the Black Arrow, I think we all know, and we know it well, I think. This is also a legendary item that was put to use as well. And so not only are they here to be able to remind us of history, but we could also use these for the betterment of others as well. For example, the Black Arrow, and I'm sure there's all kinds of historical weapons and armors and goods that have served people, even in modern times, quite well in order to preserve and protect people.
Master Valineth, son of Morbeth, you do realize the history of those black arrows, do you not? They were used when Smaug the dragon came initially. Each arrow was fired at this dragon by King Garion, and each one clashed upon his scales. Imagine if that last arrow would have been used in that moment. It wouldn't have been preserved to the moment where King Bard would have shot him down. Sometimes there's a time and a place to use everything, and there's a time for preservation. Without that black arrow, the great beast wouldn't have been slain. Would I be wrong with that assumption?
Theodric is a bit tipsy, but he speaks up. It's just like, at the same time, if they used that arrow then, who's to say Smaug wouldn't have been killed earlier?
And that's ifs and buts were candies and nuts. We'd all have a Merry Solstice. And he smiles at himself and just kind of looks. He kind of looks a little bit concerned at you, Theodric, as you're clearly like.
He's swaying in his
And
chair.
Valineth speaks up. An astute point, but yes, if ifs and buts, that is very true indeed. However, there is a time and a place for everything, and preservation is needed. But again, if ifs and buts, if we don't know what these are meant for, or what time it'll be meant for, I do believe that they will be used when they are needed.
Or if they
Kinda
fall into the
confusing.
hands of the wrong people when used by someone who is not worthy to wield such things, it could lead to the demise of all. Well, perhaps let's say it was taken by something that an orc band that has come through and delivering it to their master. And their master, with this said item, had the power. Let's just say, do you know the legend of the Rings of Power?
I know it all too well. My kinfolk, themselves, including Lord Elrond as well as Lady Galadriel, have some of these rings. Of
You
power,
have
so
no
I very
idea
well-
that Elrond has a Ring of Power, FYI.
I have no idea that Elrond has a ring of power, but I do know that Lady Galadriel does.
Yeah, nobody knows that Elrond has a Ring of Power, except for like
Right.
the wise. So that just
Does
a side
Elrond
fact.
know that Elrond has
Yeah,
a
he
ring
knows.
of
He
power?
knows he has it. It was
His ring
it was
power's
it
pretty
was
sick,
Gil
too.
Galad's elven ring that got passed on to him at history. But he kept it kind of a secret. And he hasn't been able to use it since then, and so nobody knows actually what became of Gil Galad's Ring of Power. And so Yeah, that's kind of a thing. So they're basically in history, as far as you know, Valineth. There is this ring of power that exists that is out there, like an elven ring of power that, as far as anyone knows, is out there and could fall into the hands of anyone. And this is exactly what Lockman explains. He says, when Gil-galad fell, defeating the Dark Lord Sauron, his ring of power has been nowhere to be found. Imagine something like that in the hands of the enemy. That could mean doom and destruction. I do find hope, knowing that perhaps this ring has not been found yet. Because we're still here today. And if it were to come into possession of, say, a collector like myself, it would be locked away far deep into a safe that no amount of armies of orcs would be able to ever find it. And when in the perfect time of need, could be brought out and could be used for something so good. But in the meantime, be able to be kept in secret, kept safe from the enemy.
Well, none of us can predict fate, that is for sure. And
Yes.
if fate brings it to someone, then I might say fate will bring it to someone. So at least in the time being that I have the items that I do have, I will use them to my fullest, I should say. However, I do have some business with you, my good sir, as he mentioned.
More legendary items outside of the Van Brace. Impressive,
yes,
the
more-
elves of Rivendell.
Yes, more legendary items indeed. In fact, of course, us elves are known for legendary items, but also men have provided some legendary items as well. For example,
As we've seen with the Van
Brace of
Brace.
Numenor.
Yes.
Van Brace of Numenor. I know that there are many collectors around town as well. I know many of them are leaving. Have you found anything of interest as of late?
Between us, this party has taken quite a bit of my time in order to basically assemble and please not necessarily King Bard, but the Queen. And this is something that I've been preoccupied with. No, I have not taken the time to make my way around the market squares. And to be honest, between us, elf to man, these streets have been far too crowded, too many pickpockets. I mean, you've seen such things. Yes, well, money doesn't, perhaps. It's a means to gain something. If someone takes my means to gain something, I might not have the means to gain something.
'Tis very true. Well, if you ever do want to look around, because it does seem like you are a man with a fine eye, I would be more than happy to provide a service to you of a free bodyguard. I have very keen eyes myself, however, one mistaken point. However, I will make sure that nothing on your person will disappear if you want to look around towards the end of the festival.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm not great at those. Why am I having to do this?
Yes,
Jalen
Jalen.
would like to offer advantage to Mom, and this is how she's gonna do it, okay? She'll
Okay.
just like, and maybe if you're going somewhere fun, I might tag along. Casual.
You, my friends, you drive a hard bargain.
Do I need to roll?
Yeah, take advantage.
Oh.
And you can tell he's
He does that,
genuinely
doesn't he?
enjoying this experience. Like his demeanor from early on with Theodric and like the peas and like all of that kind of stuff, that's all vanished from his mind. He is just like,
With
Riveting
advantage, that's a 7.
With advantage?
Yeah, I rolled a 5 on the second dice. I'm sorry, guys.
how about this?
Oh.
You being my bodyguard, I don't necessarily trust, as something has already been stolen from you. But he thinks, you, and he points down to Feanor, you and the lovely lady, Jalen. You can guide me to this place, can't you? And you can, of course, Valineth, Lord, Master Valineth. Tag along, all that you wish. You can see a master at work. Perhaps you want to start your own trading business. This might be a good tutorial. A
I
good
would love that.
learning to strike a deal 101, perhaps.
Do you mind if Ikari comes with us as well? It seems like he is in some dire straits as well.
Oh, I still have potential work to do with you. And he points, and Ikari's just like... it just kind of takes a sip.
Akari is not a betting man. anymore.
Yeah.
Well
Because he
met,
has
well met.
nothing too bad.
Can Fana actually like lean close into Valence and say, "Is this actually something that you really want to do? I will help you if it is, but if
Well,
it's not, I would." Yes.
He seems like a genuinely good man,
And he's sitting there
of course,
smiling. He
if
doesn't
is a
hear what you're
friend-
saying, but
If he is a friend and a trusted companion of King Bard, maybe it's never a bad thing to have some ins with the city. If you catch my drift.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll help you then.
All right, I appreciate. Jalen, are you in on this escapade of sorts?
Yeah, all right.
ah,
Go
Well,
on, then.
Jalen,
Lovely.
thank you so much, my dear.
it is not only a business
I do
deal,
this for you, Valineth.
but
I
a
wouldn't
date.
do this for anyone else.
I say
And he kind of straightens his collar up and like smooths out his kind of cowl that is like hanging over him, and he goes, "Now, we have entertainment for tonight." And and he goes ahead and he points over to the side. And the first form of entertainment during so these entertainments are kind of dispersed at like certain points throughout the meal. So you have time to chat, time to do all kinds of stuff. But this first group, this first man comes out, and he is a man that is dressed like a jester. And actually standing up from his chair, Lockman, he looks over and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host for this evening, along with King Bard and the rest of the royalty here. I have hired the greatest jester in the land, Jester Herod. He has a wonderful comedic performance for the next, I believe, half hour of our time that he is going to be able to put on for each and every one of us." And so he does so. And Herod, he's this goofy dude, just doing gestury things, from things like juggling to things like eating fire to things like literally like rolling on top of a ball, like all the gestury things that you could do. But the one thing that really catches your attention is his impressions. So he starts making impressions of all of the royalty that is there, and to a T, he fits their personalities, he fits their demeanor. And he has costumes that he's able to put on, and he's actually able to make himself. He has this weird face that he can contort to make himself look vaguely like these people. It's
Sounds
very
like a
impressive.
man.
It's crazy. I'm going to have all of you go ahead and make a charisma saving throw for me.
Oh lord. Oh lord.
I got an 18.
I have proficiency. I got a 19.
Got a 15.
I got a 6.
Yeah. Let's go.
There's always one.
Theodric is thoroughly entertained by this. He is just like, "This is incredible. This is the most amazing thing that I have ever seen in my entire life." And he's just like standing up, like whooping and hollering at him. It's just like, "Oh, do me," and like things like that. And, like, obviously, Harry's completely ignoring this drunk man off in the corner, but he continues doing his thing. Valineth, it was an 18.
15.
15, and then
Oh.
Jalen, what was yours?
She got 19.
I got a 19.
19. And so Valineth and Jalen, the one thing that you do notice about him is his eyes keep darting around back and forth. He's very observant, but you find that there is a lot of joy in the things that he's doing. And so by the means of that, you yourself actually kind of like almost subconsciously find that joy within yourselves. And this is something that is actually like really great and entertaining, and you don't want it to end. He has this charisma about him that's drawing you in, and you just can't get enough. Feanor, on the other end of the spectrum, you're just like, what is this? Like, this is like tomfoolery. Like, I actually know magic. Like, I know the things of elf lights and all this kind of stuff. Like, what are all these tricks? Why are people so entertained by this? And with that, actually, because of your general demeanor, anytime that you have any kind of interaction with anyone like him of his kind for the next year, you are going to find no entertainment, and if there is any potential for inspiration to be gained from that, you will not gain inspiration from that. So for comedic acts, joy, things like that.
Being a jester just seems like a waste of time. Could have put it towards something more constructive.
I don't know. He seems quite entertaining to me. What do you think, everyone else?
Aw. Come on, Feanor. He's doing his best out there. I kind of
Yeah,
like him.
but I've already at the festival itself, I've seen far better performers. People have actually made me entertained. Like, I'm not saying it's super loud, just like to the table. It's like, I guess he's all right, but he's not inspiring anything. I could do half those tricks.
Yeah. Could you do them wearing that costume?
Oh
And
God,
look at
no, I
his
wouldn't be caught
face.
dead in it.
And look at his face, though. Theodric is just cackling.
And you just see, as he says that, Feanor looks up, and you can see that Herod, he's like,
Ugh. Look, maybe it's just because I've spent too long in the woods, but I don't find this entertaining.
fair enough, fair enough.
You can at least be polite and clap him on, alright?
I'm not sure if we could agree on that.
Feanor, we are at a party. Follow our lead. Huzzah! Huzzah!
A very weak. Huzzah.
I'll take it. Have some more wine.
Yeah, this is incredible. And after this conversation, or not conversation, the show, the round 2 of courses are coming out for this meal. Surprisingly, you filled your bellies, but this new food that has come out, you have found some room for it somewhere else. Your second stomach has started to erupt inside. And you begin to actually talk to your dwarf friends, actually. So they have been relatively quiet, just kind of listening to everything that's going on. But Boris, he says, so now that this business is over, why don't we move on to maybe some lighter conversation, or more pressing conversation. I've got lots of news. We've traveled quite a bit, haven't we, dear? And oh, yes, we've traveled quite a bit, but I do say don't venture north. It's not a very good place these days. And Boris is just like, oh yeah, that place is terrible. Ugh. Yeah, don't go through there. How are we gonna go home? I don't necessarily want to go through the Great Greenwood. Are we gonna have to go south all the way through Wilderland? What a pain! And they just like keep like kind of like almost like bickering with each other and like arguing with themselves. If anyone wants to jump in, feel free.
What's happening north? What's the problem there?
Eh? Oh! Yeah, what's happening north? So do you know the mountain range just to the north? They're called the Grey Mountains. These are where our people way long ago came from. And Clovis, she continues. Yes, these mountains, we've been traveling for quite some time. We've found a little bit of home in Erabor, but our job is to travel and to perform for many, many peoples. We are invited to and fro all through Wilderland, and we've made our way all the way to the Blue Mountains, as mentioned. Yes, but up north, it's always been so, well, not safe per se, but us dwarves, we know those lands like the back of our hands, and the Grey Mountain Narrows, that's what we call them now. They lie in a deep shadow. There's our, all kinds of orc, wandering to and fro up there. I don't put it by anybody to travel through there. Jalen, you have, know exactly what they're talking about, actually. Because you came to this place was actually north through the Grey Mountain Narrows. You did encounter a number of orcs and goblins and whatnot, and one of the only reasons that you were able to survive the journey through there, not only were you lost and wandering for a little bit, but because of the companions that you were with. These companions, you could tell, were very skilled with their weapons that they have. In fact, the male dwarf, what is his name? That is going to bother me. His name is...
Write it down.
I think I did too.
Grama.
Grommer.
Drama and Grama.
Yep, Grommer. He actually had a sword that he had equipped with him that he said was given to him by Lord Elrond himself. And every time you made your way through and you encountered, one of the only reasons you were able to stay alive is because this blade grew faintly blue as they arrived, as they came near. And so you were ever aware of when evil orc were in that area, and they were numerous. So you can relate to these things.
Yeah. Cool. I don't know if I wanted to take over the whole conversation or not, but like I'd mention it. Yeah, that was pretty standard go for when I traveled through them.
Wait, we lost you. Jalen, you traveled through those lands.
Yeah,
How did you
I'm from around
survive?
here, mate.
Oh, goodness
Well,
gracious, Durin's beard. You are very impressive indeed.
I didn't do it alone. I had some help. Two dwarves actually was kind enough to travel with me. Drama and Grama. They were
Drama
siblings.
and Grama, siblings.
They were very good traveling companions.
I'm afraid those names don't ring a bell. What do you think, dear? Oh,
No, I
Drama.
wouldn't expect you to know them just because you're dwarves. I just mentioned their
Oh.
names out of interest, and you
No-
know
no
they
worries,
were
no
pretty good
worries.
friends of mine.
Indeed. Yes, us dwarves are very close, so it's quite odd when we don't know a thing or two about other dwarves. But, we probably met them somewhere along the road, here and there. We're always wandering folk. But, between us, did you notice anything odd about these orcs? Go ahead, Jalen, and make a history check.
Cool.
Would Valnith know anything?
Valinith, no, you have no idea what's going on in this region. You haven't made your way up there, so...
It's not the worst. It's a 9.
9. The one thing you did notice is it didn't seem like random, like, scout parties or just hunting parties. The orcs that you came across seemed organized, but you can't say much more past that.
I mean, I don't really have a lot of experience with orcs, so I'm not sure what the norm is. But they seem pretty organized from what I could tell, which is a bit odd from what I've heard about them.
Yes, organized indeed. I would even say that they are forming war bands as if they were part of an army moving across that area. I thought after the Battle of the Five Armies, what we're celebrating here, most of them were killed. In the meantime, Feanor, I'm going to actually have you make a history check for me.
Okay. 6.
6. Okay. So you take that, you listen to it, and they continue. Most of the orcs, I believed, were killed during the Battle of the Five Armies, and they retreated back into their holes. The vast majority of the ones that survived made their way all the way into the Withered Heath. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a very desolate place, terrible place. Us dwarves used to live there, and let's just say it is a cradle of dragons, scorched earth, pestilent lands. It's not a good time to be up there these days, but it seems that the orcs and the goblins that did survive fled into the mountains, and but who knew that an army's worth of orcs were making their way west through there, going from there, and I'm gonna actually, Valinith, you go ahead and make a history check for me.
Okay. History. Where's my history? There's so many freaking things in D&D. Oh my god.
Yep, especially with the addition of all of the AME stuff.
Okay, there we go. Oh, non-natural 20.
One thing that was very clear to you is actually a large force from the Battle of the Five Armies, and this is something that you're thinking to yourself, not out loud.
Yeah.
But one of the large forces of the Battle of the Five Armies came from an old dwarven holy site, a place called Mount Gundabad. This is a place that was long abandoned because it was overtaken by goblins and orcs. And in the Battle of the Five Armies, there was a great orc that lived up there that led the armies, and his name was Bolg. and Bolg was basically a commander of the legions of Azog. So Azog rallied the orcs from all around, from the Grey Mountains, from the Withered Heath, all the way from the Misty Mountains, and of course with his commander in Mount Gundabad, basically gathered all of these orcs and goblins to be able to attack Erabor in the Battle of the Five Armies. And with that being said, they all retreated. And so the one thing that you can think is maybe these are orcs from Mount Gundabad that are now finally starting to make their return to their stronghold. Or, even worse, they're going to plan an attack on somewhere in Wilderland as we speak.
Yeah, Valnith thinks this and mulls it over. He doesn't bring it up or anything, but it definitely seems concerning to him. And in fact, afterwards, he goes up to the dwarves, like during one of the conversation times, and says to them, I apologize for my rudeness earlier. Yes, I am an elf, I am old, but I am not very well traveled myself, and so I apologize for my naiveness early on. However, I am a traveler and a newly ordained traveler within the last couple years. I'm actually searching for my father itself, and maps are something that I've always been interested in, cartography. So if you have the time, maybe not now, but maybe a little bit later, if you could help me map out a little bit of the northern regions that you've explored, just so it makes it a little bit easier for us if we do ever happen to travel up there. Appreciate it.
Don't travel up there, at least within these coming months. It's quite a bit dangerous, but we would be more than happy to be able to show you the secret paths, or at least attempt to map them out. You see, many of the ways that we travel up through the northern territory that used to be owned by dwarves, that used to be inhabited by dwarves, there are things called dwarven runes. Only our people can read them, and so that's how we found our way to and from safe points, underground, above hill. We follow these dwarven runes, and they have inscriptions that, unfortunately, I understand, Master Elf, that you are an elf and probably well learned and studious in these things. But the secret language of the dwarves is not one which we give away, so we cannot help you in that way.
Understand, but in any direction would be much appreciated.
Indeed, landmarks we can absolutely help you with, but do know there's a darkness upon the lands that dwell up in the north. Not only are the great dragons of Middle-earth still up there, stewing in their filth, sleeping, resting. The cold drakes, their terrible teeth, and they shudder at this. But also, something more sinister. A shadow. Something draws the orcs up there, I do believe. I'm not much of a studious man myself, but I do know that orcs don't just do things to and fro. They typically serve a master to some degree. Maybe I'm just thinking, I think you've had too much to drink, my love. And they cheers. Toast to that, let me say. This is a great fine wine. Oh my goodness, almost dwarven spirits. And he pounds it down.
Why, of course, and you know what? With more knowledge, we can avoid it much easier, so I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate your help. Huzzah to that, my friend.
Huzzah. Jalen, did you want to say anything?
Maybe, but if I did, I forgot.
Okay. No worries. If it comes up, just bring it up later in the meal. That's totally fine.
Yeah. Like everyone at the table would see her like perk up at the mention of the shadow. But she won't say anything. Just at the end of that interaction, she'll say, "Come, friends. This is meant to be a joyous occasion. Let's not dwell on such dark things."
Agreed. As our Lord King Dain had mentioned, this is something that we need to set aside, enjoy the day, enjoy the feast, and enjoy the merriment together. Let's create bonds of friendship through drink, through song, and through food.
Is that a request for a song?
Indeed.
I won't. I didn't bring my lute.
Another time then. Maybe my wife and I can dance to your songs. Well, you are a jack of all trades, aren't you? We lass.
Jack of all trades, expert in some, as I like to say.
I love it. I love it. I'm glad that we met you. I'm glad that we met all of you, actually. And this whole time, actually, sitting there smiling, Lockman is just, like, kind of looking at all of you and seeing how you're interacting with dwarves. And, like, he hears the story about, like, the orcs and everything. He's just, like, nodding, like, huh. He thinks about it, takes a sip, eats some food. He has nothing to add to this conversation, but he is doing his niceties, and he's like trying to be as genuine as possible, like trying to be like polite and kind and have everything, but at the same time, like he's involved. You know, like those people in conversation that's like, I want to be involved, but I have nothing to say. That's what he's doing. So.
Valineth, this isn't a role-playing aspect or anything, but just like during like some of the conversation, he does want to talk with Lockman a little bit about Rivendell, and if he ever does come through Rivendell, say that he's friends of Valineth, and maybe he could get a personal tour of some of the old artifacts and things of Rivendell as well.
I will hold you to that, my friend.
Indeed.
And with that, the next act does come on. And it is actually the first elves that you see. There is one that is playing what looks to be a harp, one that's playing a lute, and another one is actually there with a flute. And another one, the final one, is there, look like they're going to perform a song. And so as they do so, they stand up, and King Thranduil, he mentions, ladies and gentlemen, these here are some of the master musicians of Thranduil, myself, the woodland realm of my court. We have created a song for such an occasion. A song that we have, well, he points to King Dain and he points to King Bard. We have collaborated with in hopes to get every piece of the story. Sit back and enjoy the music of the woodland realm. And so these strings begin to play, and this flute, and this singer, he stands up, and he has like this almost like a melodic voice. Obviously, like my voice is nowhere close to what this elf is going to be, but he starts to begin. In the lonely mountain, so dark and so deep, a dragon slept with treasures to keep. His name was Smaug, and he was feared by all who knew him, and all who neared. But a hobbit named Bilbo, with a heart so brave, stole the Arkenstone, Smaug's treasure to save. He snuck through the hall, so quiet he crept, and the jewel of the kings the hobbit kept. Enraged and spiteful, the dragon flew to the town on the lake, with hot flames slew. But a soul so brave and heart so true shot with a cry a single black arrow and made the dragon die. But his victory was short-lived, for armies did come, armies of dwarves and of elves, with swords and drums at their side. They battled and fought with fire and steel, their fates entwined with Smaug's last squeal. But the free folk set aside their difference and pride, for out in the valley attacked goblins and orc kind. The armies clashed with a fury so fierce, and the land was ravaged with wounds so severe. But through the chaos, heroes did rise, their courage and strength no enemy could disguise. Thorin, the dwarf king so brave and true, who fought for his home with a heart that grew. Bard, the man with bow so bright, fought for his people with all his might. And the elven king, Thranduil, with grace so rare, fought for his kin with a finesse so fair. Together they fought and together they fell, their fates uncertain, their stories to tell. But in the end the battle was won and the heroes celebrated. A job well done, the lonely mountain, so peaceful and still, a home for all and a land to till. The desolation of Smaug and the battle of Five, a tale so epic it will forever survive. For in their hearts the heroes did see a world so grand and a land so free. And everyone was just like, wow, clapping. The elves, they take a bow, very graceful and whatnot, and they actually dismiss themselves all the way off to the side. Oh, I love the Koopos, nice. And they make their way off to the side, and without further ado, the feast continues. And as it does so, you actually start to notice the tables around you. And each of these tables are now alive with chatter. The people who were awkward at first have now had a few drinks in them, are now open, and they're beginning to talk to and fro. And time passes almost seamlessly. And finally, actually a host of dwarves come out at this point. So a representation from each of the races. And these dwarves, they have what look to be fireworks and toys. And they let them loose inside the halls. And with explosions, the entire room is aglow with all kinds of beautiful fireworks. And as these the embers fall, they fall on your skin and feel cool. And it's a glorious celebration of everything that's happened. Like you have these like almost living like fireworks, not quite Gandalf status, but like almost these living like fireworks that tell the story of the Battle of the Five Armies and all of the people that are involved. These toys race around your feet, and they make almost this like magical mystical noises and like little like sounds, almost sounding like words that kind of interact with everything that's going on above. It's beautiful and amazing craftsmanship. And as soon as everything's done, they withdraw, and the meal itself, and at this point dessert is served, and you are able to eat and enjoy what is left of the meal. Do you have anything else before the closing of this meal that you want to be able to talk about with anyone at your table?
No, Valnith is good. He talked all the things he want to talk.
Yeah. I think we had some really great conversations. That's great.
I just want to say, I know I haven't been speaking much, but you all make mighty fine company. And I look around at everyone at the table, like so.
Kari's like tears in his eyes.
Even you, Akari. Is Akari close enough for me to slap on the shoulder?
No, I mean, you could like get up and like do it, but
no. If it's not close enough to immediately do it,
yeah.
But yeah, no. I just wanted to say that yes, I've enjoyed my time tonight, and I've enjoyed my time in this city, especially with you, Jalen, Theodric, and Valinus. I didn't know what to think when I first came here, but I'm glad that I've made the friends that I have.
And Ikari starts to sniffle.
In all my wanderings, I never thought that I'd end up this far from home, with some people who I feel really understand me. I'm glad to have met.
Drunk Theodric.
Huzzah. All right, now we go around the table and we tell each, like, say one nice thing about everyone in the table.
Oh, look, I think the final things begin.
Ikari is just weeping at this point. I thought my life was over because of you, and he points over the table at Theodric. I lost everything.
That's why he was like.
But it turns out.
Wait, I'm putting 2 and 2 together now. Oh my god.
But it turns
Think
out.
of all that you've gained. Think of all that you've gained.
Was it worth it?
You've gained greater
Yes,
appreciation
absolutely.
for what you have
But-
left and
but-
for your family, and you've learned not to gamble.
This is the best night of my life.
Wise words from a drunk. I love it.
You are the coolest people I have ever
This,
met.
this whole time, Theodric
Well,
has
you
just
said
been
it pretty
staring
well.
at
You
the
guys are the
bottom of
coolest
his cup
people
of
I've ever
wine.
met.
This is like,
I slide another glass over to Theodric. No.
The dwarves are just like, men can't hold the Raker, can they? And they pound another, and then Lockman, he's just standing there. Yes, I have found this quite a valuable and very entertaining experience indeed. Each and every one of you. And I look forward to your future celebrations with all of you. You do plan on staying in Dale for long, perhaps?
That depends, I guess. I don't know. We haven't really thought about it. We want
Well,
to do dinner.
When I find out why the king asked for me here personally, that'll really depend. That'll really change what my answer to that question will be.
I see. But we do have a shopping date tomorrow, and he looks over at Jalen, and he kind of gives one of these.
And Valnith was just like, gives her a thumbs up, like, yes, we do.
Oh, I feel like I'm going to regret this.
Yes, indeed.
I appreciate your help, Feanor. I do appreciate it quite a bit, my friend.
Yeah, Lockman's very happy. Everyone at your table is very happy, whether they're in tears or whether they're just ear to ear grins, and they just are enjoying themselves. But as the night does come to a close, there is a chinking of the glasses and ding 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 ding, and the crowd themselves actually
No.
hush. Yeah, yes, Jalen, do you have something to add?
Just like under my breath, Jalen just goes, "They're gonna break the glass if they do that." Oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a chinking of the glasses, and as you see, it's actually Elstan who has stood up. He is roughly chinking the glasses, and he's like, "It is time to recognize all of those who have won in the games that we have had here in the celebration of the 5 armies. We will
he
introduce."
looks up in a panic, like, downs the rest of his wine.
We will introduce each of our winners, of each of the competitions, and with that, and with an additional trophy, we will go ahead and close our banquet for tonight. My lord, and he offers his hand up and gesture to King Bard, who stands up. So we shall do this in the order in which each of these awards have been given. First and foremost, we have the young lady from the Brelands, all the way out west in Erabor. Young Jalen Grinfold. Grinfold? Is that right? Yes.
Yeah, Grinfold is.
Grinfold. Come. Stand up here, and he invites you actually to this area right here, kind of like this staired pedestal area right in front of where he sits. Come, stand here, and stand proud for your people. You may not be of Wilderland, but you are part of the free peoples of Middle-earth, and to that we say welcome. Welcome. She won a riddle competition, so she has showed us not only her wit, but she has also showed us, and we'll mention this later on, she has won another competition, so stay here. And he kind of gestures, and some servants come over and like place you to kind of up front to the side. Our next winner, the winner of Day 2's music competition, is the young maiden Larkin. And actually from across the room, over in this area, a woman, she actually looks to be of Dalish descent. She stands up and she's very elegantly dressed. And she is probably nearing like her late 30s, if you had to guess her age. Very elegant. She kind of has like this like soft like expression on her face. She comes from a long lineage of quite a few musical geniuses here in Dale, but originally coming from the town on the lake, Lake Town, and now dubbed Esgaroth. She has made a name for herself here in this city, and it might not be a surprise that she has won this competition. Come up and stand beside your fellow champion. And she comes up and she gives a little curtsy as she does so. She's wearing actually a very ornate dress. She is not wearing purple, actually. She is wearing like a very like deep green, like super elegant. Yeah, it's beautiful. And then the winner of our archery competition. In the long run, it seemed that the favorite who came and who participated did not arrive victorious. In fact, it came down to 3 elves. 2 elves from the Mirkwood, from the Woodland Realm, and 1 from all the way in Eriador, from the city of Imladris. I welcome to the stage Valinith, son of Morbeth. And as you stand up, everyone just kind of like looks at you. Like, again, you're very much an odd man out in this area. Like, you look like you're an elf, but clearly you look very different as you walk behind Legolas, and, Prince Legolas and King Thranduil, and even by Fëanor. And you go and you take your position. And then the horse riding competition. We had amazing contestants. One from here, one from our proud city of Dale. And he kind of dismisses it. One from all the way south from the Riddermark, a man of Rohan. And finally, an elf of the Woodland Realm, riding a rather mystical, majestic beast. Something we here in Dale have never seen. Not only did you put on quite a show for us, but you are the winner of our horse riding, our steed riding, might I say, competition. Take your place up front. And he offers you standing right next to Valinith.
Yeah, I pass Theodric one last piece of bread and then go. Give him a little thumbs up.
And on to the jousting competition. The favorite of those in Dale.
Cedric has to put the bread down quickly. Eyes are on him.
He nods to Elstan and he says, defeating our current champion, we have the young man. And as you can tell, young man from the land of Rohan. Theodric, come forward and present yourself. I'm going to have you make a dexterity saving throw. This is going to be made at disadvantage as you make your way to the front.
Oh, dear. It's a 5.
A 5. You get up.
5.
You get up nervous as heck, and you begin making your way over. And as you cross kind of the front benches here, you make your way over and you stumble down these stairs. And you do so, almost landing into the back of the chair of King Thranduil, to which he stands up suddenly. And he looks down and says, what is wrong with you? Get up!
Can Fëanor, like, run over to help him?
Yeah, if you wish to do so.
Yeah.
Valinith also helps. He's like,
Sorry, I'm sorry, Your Majesty. Our young friend here, quite young, still getting used to the life of the larger parties. I beg for your forgiveness.
I will also be involved in this.
Look chipper, young friend. Come on, you have a reward to
My
accept.
apologies, Your Majesty.
Bef-
These are new
before-
shoes.
I'm gonna
Before,
take them
before
very-
waiting for a response, I'm like dragging him away.
Yes, yeah, Jalen. What
Get
were
him
you gonna-
away.
Sorry, these are new shoes. Bought them for the occasion. Haven't worn them in. Tripped up a little bit.
Make a deception check for me, Theodric.
Oh lord.
You're deceiving an elven lord.
That is
And
a
a
1.
throw
It
in.
is a very poor lie.
A natural one.
It's a nat 1. It is a very bad lie.
Bro.
Yes.
But it's like one of those lies that you do just for the decorum of the occasion.
Yeah,
rather
yeah, yeah.
than the actual confusion.
Yes. Indeed. And Theodric, you don't hear this, but Jalen being the closest, I guess, to everything that's going on, to him, what you can see, you can very, very briefly pick up. He's not suitable for this occasion. That's what we get for coming to the cities of men. And then he sits back down and he scoots his chair in. But you just hear that very briefly under his breath.
The alert pops up. Jalen will remember this.
Yep. Perfect. Yes, and so you help Theodric, young drunk Theodric, up to the front, and he stands his place up at the front. And then he says, and finally, well, not finally, we have our final competition for the bids to be able to come here, and it looks like we already have our champions up here. And King Bard, he says, why don't you go ahead and take another bow for yourselves. And we have actually the runners up here as well. Very kind for you to be able to enjoy them. They did a magnificent job. The queen and I, we thought they did an amazing job. Stand up, take a bow. And they basically gesture over to Boris and Clovis, and they both take like this like large bow. They stand on like the bench that they're on, and they take this large bow, and a deep bow for like a good 5 seconds. We couldn't have asked for a better competition. Yes, that's right. And they're so kind to allow us to join you all in this wonderful, magnificent feast. Thank you so much, Miss Jalen and Sofano. Ah, indeed. Fierce competition that ball was. But as if I guess going to reveal your identities. We have Fëanor of the Woodland Realm and Jalen of the Preland. Welcome. Double congrats to you. And then finally, we have the champion of the melee and his host of Knights of Dale. You've done us proud fighting for the men of Dale, but you've also done everybody here, all of the participants, including many that we have up here. You fought bravely, you fought valiantly, and it was a more fierce competition than we could have ever imagined. Please, come up. And so Elstan with his group of basically knights come up, and the queen actually comes down with King Bard, so Queen Una. And they each hand you all something. Inside each of your, basically, sacks, you each get 30 silver pennies.
Oh,
More
Lord.
bear meat for me.
And now, if you would please have your seats, one last round of applause, and everybody erupts in applause, and it's a great time to be had by all. As you walk back to your seats, you do notice that there are some individuals who stand out to you. Kind of in this front area, there is a dwarf, an abnormally large dwarf, and he has just food in his fists, and he is just I'm gonna have Fëanor. Maybe just Fëanor make a history check for me.
12.
12. This looks like one of the companions of Thor and Oakenshield. Legend has it that there is a dwarf who has made a name for himself not only in the culinary arts, but also in the emissary arts. This is indeed a Bomber. Bomber, the dwarf of Erabor. And sitting across from him is also a dwarf who sits across. And this, you actually recognize this person right away as you have met him, Feanor, in Lake Town. This dwarf is one by the name of Galoin. He is currently an emissary of Erabor that resides and does much of his work inside Lake Town in Esgaroth. And then there are two dwarves on either side of them. One is a very large one, and actually this is one that Theodric does recognize. These two actually dwarves. One is tall. He stands probably about a head over every other dwarf, including King Dain here. He's a huge dwarf. You don't know who he is, but you recognize him. And sitting across from him at the table is a white-haired dwarf with a beard that stretches down to the floor. And he's got a bulbous nose and a kind of a kind, gentle smile as he looks as he claps as the rest of you make your seats. Though those are some kind of notable people that are in the crowd that you kind of know. And as this feast comes to a close, King Bard, he stands up and... Oh, he continues standing up, and he addresses each and every one of you. My dear friends and fellow warriors of Wilderland, tonight we close our celebration to celebrate the peace and prosperity that has been achieved over the past 5 years. We have overcome great challenges together and emerged victorious against the darkness that once threatened to consume our lands. I want to express my gratitude to all of you who have made this possible. Each and every one of you. To our host, of course, Lachlan. And to the dwarves that we have here for preparing such a lovely, elaborate feast for all the entertainment that we've had. King Dain and the warriors of the Iron Hills. Thorin's companions, and he points down to that table. And the champions of Erabor. King Thranduil and the elves of the Woodland Realm, and the brave peoples of Lake Town as he gestures next to him. Each of you played a crucial role in the defeat of Smaug, and the victory of the Battle of the Five Armies. It is because of your courage, bravery, and willingness to stand together that we have been able to rebuild Dale and unite the peoples of Wilderland. We have shown that when we work together, nothing is impossible. We have proven that the free peoples of Middle-earth can overcome any challenge. But our work is not done. There are still dark forces at work, and we must remain vigilant. We must continue to stand together and fight for the freedom of our lands. We must protect our homes and families from any threat that may arise. To all the adventurers, and he points specifically to your table, but to everybody around. To all the adventurers and warriors present here today, I call upon you to continue the fight for the free peoples of Middle-earth. Your courage and dedication are an inspiration to us all. Your bravery has helped to bring about the peace and prosperity that we enjoy today. Let this gathering of the Five Armies serve as a reminder of what we can accomplish when we work together. Let us celebrate our victories, but let us also remember that there's still work to be done. Let us remain steadfast in our commitment to protecting our lands and defending any threat that may arise. Thank you all for coming, and may the peace and prosperity of Wilderland continue for generations to come. Hear, hear! As he offers a final kind of cheer as everybody erupts and the last of the food is consumed. Everybody gets up and starts to make their way out. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
And make their way up. And everyone, including Lachlan, you guys kind of stick around for a little bit longer as you keep your eyes on the royalty that are there. King Thranduil and Prince Legolas, they get up and they actually dismiss themselves into a back room. King Dain, he sits down and he is enjoying himself with just like a giant just keg of ale at this point. It's not even fine wine anymore. It's just like he has this keg and this tankard and he's just like going at it and he's just like enjoying talking to some of the warriors of Erabor, Thorin's company. Bard is actually finishing up conversation as he begins to make his way towards your table. You have said goodbye to your companions of Boris and Clovis as they make their way out, and also Ikari. Ikari, he says, he gives you all a handshake, and he says, "It has been a pleasure meeting each and every one of you. Just know that throughout all of your adventures together, I will never forget you, and I will be here for every single one of your streams from here on out. And I will be chatty.
We will be here for
I will be here."
As he's giving us all his like handshakes, like, can I like slip him like just as he goes to reach my hands, just like a wet piece of like meat from the table, and I'm like,
He takes it gratefully.
we appreciate it.
He puts it in his bag of bread as he begins to leave, and then he says, "And don't forget, each and every one of you, don't forget to buy your boxes from Die Snacky, our sponsor."
He's speaking in strange tongues.
And
No,
Valinus
Speech
picks
immortal. I
up-
can't understand it.
The black speech. As he begins to speak, his lips begin to shrivel.
Valinus speaks up and he's like, "Well met, my friend. Ah, yes, I have heard of this such Die Snacky, and I have heard that it is free shipping all over Middle Earth, wherever you are. Man, what a
This
good
is
deal."
shameless, guys. Shameless.
And with that,
Good
with
job.
just a simple purchase of either 60 to 100 silver pennies, you could get yourself
No, this would be the moment where someone like holds up a box with like the label pointed at the camera, like, oh yes.
a box of snacks from the
I have
far
the box,
eastern
but it
Cond,
doesn't have a label on it.
where the Easterlings dwell. I hear they have wonderful traditional treats and snacks that you could enjoy for just a small price.
Well, Ikari will keep that in mind. I will say, though, stay away from the gambling, my friend.
Yes, I will stay away from the gambling as long as when you purchase your box, you say that Fantasy Forge sent you. And he walks away.
I am so glad that this person that I met today seems to be doing a lot better.
And even better, freaking Ikari put the Nightbot up. I love it.
Already as a salesman of Die Snacky.
Oh god.
Gosh. Anyways, King Bard walks over to your table.
He is get dice snackies. I wonder what that is.
Yeah, he catches the end of the conversation. And he's just like, "Cond. Aren't there like evil people that live out there?" Never mind. He makes his way over to your table, and he actually pulls up one of the stools and sits down directly next to you, next to. So I guess technically where you guys are all seated. So seated here is Feanor. Seated here is Valinith. Here's Jalen, and up across here is going to be Theodric. It's popping a squat right down next to Theodric. King Bard
no.
sits. And he says, "You are a very impressive group of travelers together. And it has been a pleasure to get to know and to see the excitement that you erupt around this city. There has been much rejoicing in the recent years, and it seems that you have brought even more. As the king of the city, I am much grateful to you. I'm not one for fancy halls and, frivolity like this. But I do recognize strength when I see it." And he looks at each and every one of you. And he kind of pats you on the back, Theodric. And you feel this very firm hand on the back as he says, "And you are young, which brings me much hope."
And Valinith is just sitting over here in the corner, just like, "Yep, I'm young. I'm very young."
Well,
See the young.
present company excluded.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Yes,
young
yes.
by elf standards, I guess.
Yeah, you young. Whoa,
I don't
actually.
think the elves appreciated this little
Me.
foray.
King Thranduil, don't mind him. He is a man
Bit
who
of
has
a
seen.
stick.
He is an elf who has seen a lot in his time. You do realize living an immortal life is something that the longer you stay here, the more something else calls. His purpose is to protect his people, and we rely on him for that. He is good at that, but he is well suited in his ways. He's a good man. He's a good elf. Great elf lord, in fact. Strong. Kind when he needs to be. And he is gracious. We worked together, all of us here, to bring peace to Wilderland. And it is in part thanks to him. Yes, he is maybe quite short-tempered. But don't mind him. Surely, Feanor, you know all about this. You know all about him. Feanor, FYI, you don't know a whole lot about King Thranduil. You've seen him a couple of times in your life. You've encountered him. You've actually never had a conversation with the guy. But in King Bard's perspective, you're close, apparently. As far as like when he looks to you.
Yeah.
So, newly acquainted companions.
It's
Yes.
proud of you to thank you for all that you've done for the city and allowing us mere out-of-towners to participate in your games.
You honor me with your words, but truly, this is the most fun I believe I've had in decades. This has been a wonderful celebration. See what happens when peace can finally come to a place. When peace can finally come to the lands of Middle-earth. The free people can enjoy such things without the worry of the shadow. But that isn't without lives lost, and it is thanks to warriors like yourselves that we're here. And he looks to you, Feanor.
Yeah. Actually, Your Majesty, that brings to mind a question that I have been meaning to ask.
Yes, Feanor.
Why was I sent for? Why was I brought here?
He looks surprised at the question. Oh, you're a great hero indeed. And he kind of like glances, like, almost kind of like, is this like a joke?
Can
Show him
I
the letter.
do a history check real quick?
With disadvantage,
Oh,
Mr. Drunk Man.
I will say Feanor, after asking this question, has kind of like downcast his eyes, like
Okay.
kind of at the table.
Okay.
But he's not looking at like Bard in the face.
Okay.
okay.
Bard.
That is a 2. I don't know anything.
Okay. Yes,
Can
Jalen.
I just give Feanor just like a nudge on the shoulder and say, just like, show him the letter?
Yeah. I pull out my like letter and it's like, this found me when I believed that I could not be found. And I am under the impression from the courier that it spent some time coming to me. Meaning that you, whoever sent this, was expecting me for a while. What in your eyes have I done that has garnered such attention?
He looks at all of you, but then he kind of focuses his eyes on you, Feanor. What do you think, Feanor, that you have done to deserve a spot here at this table?
I am just an elf who is trying to live his life and to experience everything that comes with it. I
What
have
about
been
your
against the
part?
shadow.
Yes, what about your part in the shadow?
In the battles that I have been in, and that I expect that I will be in until I die, I have and will continue to battle the shadow. I only wish to grow strong enough and to meet others who perhaps maybe together we can grow strong enough to finally defeat the shadow for good.
Make a persuasion check for me. And this is actually going to be a disadvantage because of conversation check.
Yeah. 7.
7.
I
There's a
believe I do-
there's a mystery behind your eyes, Master Elf. Why I invited you here? I had counsel to send for you. If to be completely honest, not much more than 6 months ago? 7 maybe. An elf approached me. He said that you are someone who has a great heart, a fierce heart. Someone whose role in the Battle of Five Armies, and you can tell he's deliberately holding information back. He's looking at you and looking at the rest of the group. Your role in the Battle of the Five Armies led to the safening of these lands. And with that, I give you my absolute thanks. We have spent years trying to rid the lands, the Dalelands, and all the surrounding areas of the orc filth and orc scum. The actions that you have caused has helped quite a bit in that. Feanor, you are a hero, like it or not. You might call yourself a simple elf, and simple you might be. I'm just a simple man of the lake. I'm not a man who's built for these halls, a palace, especially when I desire to be out on the hunt. When I desire the wind in my face, a seat at the table at the missing scale. Unfortunately,
these things elude us when
yes,
time comes.
that is not my role to play here in Middle-earth. Feanor, you seem to be an elf of the people. To and fro, traveling, quite obviously, and he looks at the note. This has done quite a bit of travel, finding you. I do believe a thing or two about fate and why you are here, and he actually addresses all of you. I very much believe in a thing or two about fate and why you each and every one of you are here. What brought all of you here to the city of Dale for the celebration or the gathering of the Five Armies? It's beyond me, perhaps other than Feanor, of course. But you all found each other. And I saw what you were able to do, each on your own, but I also saw what you were able to do together. And it only proves my theory that with friendship, with camaraderie, with strength, that is the true magic of Middle-earth. All of you. I'm deeply, deeply in your debt if you would do me a favor. I would be deeply in your debt if you would do me a favor.
What is it you would ask of us?
Continue to fight for the safety of Middle-earth. I know it's a large, great task. And we are living in years of peace after the fall of the dragon. But a shadow remains. I can feel it in my bones. There will come a time when simple folk, travelers, adventurers, must rise and choose. They must choose. Are you willing to fight against the growing shadow? Or succumb to it? There are many there. Yes, yes, absolutely, Feanor.
I cannot speak for my companions, but I'm sure that this is something you might be able to agree on. In that, in this seemingly never-ending battle against the shadow, perhaps the only true worthy death is to die keeping others safe. And I'm gonna offer him my hand, like almost like in a camaraderie, not just like a gentle one, but like the one you would do like a fellow soldier.
And he grabs it immediately. Truer words have not been spoken, and I see this in each and every one of you. I caught hint of the conversations that you were having earlier at dinner, and your view on life, and the protection of it. You're not just simple mercenaries out to make coin. Yes, you earned it, for sure, here in this celebration. But it is the value that you place on life, the value that you place on the innocent, the ones that cannot rise and fight for themselves, that make you truly strong. I see the same things in some of my trusted counselors, especially Elstan. Why do you think I've kept him with me through all of these years? Not only has he been a close friend, but a very, very loyal guard. Captain of the guard here in Dale. And because of him, we've been able to keep peace. And we've been able to protect the lives from the surrounding dangers. And fortunately, with each passing year, those dangers seem to flee. But it is Wilderland. It is the north that I'm afraid might be too big for me, a soul warrior, a soul king to protect. Which is why I ask you, the group of you, do your job and help protect. Protect the people like I'm protecting my people. You might not be tied to a location like I am, but there are so many people in this world worth fighting for, worth saving from the shadow. And you have the strength to be able to do so. You just have to believe it. You need to have the grit to be able to overcome the temptations. And even in perhaps poor decision making, and he looks at Theodric, taps you on the back again. Do know that the mistakes and the pitfalls that you fall into on your journeys, they're just mere obstacles. In the grand scheme of things, it is your actions and your wills that will last forever, that will become legendary. Your name might not be on the lips of those who are in generations to come, but the actions that you do have a very real effect, and those have lasting effects on the people of the future. I beg you, stay the winter here in Dale. Enjoy the sights. For those who don't know, Dale and the north, nearly impossible to traverse and travel during this time of year. Wherever your adventures take you, I bid you stay. I will have a house with lodgings for you that you can stay until the spring comes. Enjoy your rest. It is well deserved. And know, you always have a home here in Dale. What do you all have to say? Anything? Or just leave it at that?
I do have something to say, actually.
Go ahead, Jalen.
Okay, Jalen. This is the King of Bree. It's not the King of Bree, it's the King of Dale. Okay. Whew. Okay. Episode's over. This thing you ask of us, well, for me, at least, it has been asked of me before I left home, by a ranger by the name of, I swear I wrote his name, Halberad. He was the one who sent me here. Yes.
All right. The Rangers of the North are mysterious people, mysterious folk. I don't know of this Halberad that you speak of, but Rangers have deep meanings. They have deep ties to the world that's around them. They wander to and fro, but they also have a connection with the earth itself. If he sent you here with a purpose, I do believe that is also fate intertwining. Your destiny.
I was hoping that you could help me with the task that he has set.
Ah. Indeed.
He has bid me seek out the one known as the Grey Pilgrim. I don't really have a lot of information on this figure, only that he can only be found when he is not being looked for, which is slightly annoying when you
He chuckles.
need to look for him.
That sounds about right. The man you
Yes.
seek goes by many names. But to the wise, he goes by the name Gandalf. Gandalf the Grey.
Does Valineth knows Gandalf, right?
Not necessarily. Make a traditions check for me.
Ho ho ho! I thought for sure he would know of Gandalf. Traditions, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. Traditions. That's a nat 20. 22.
Nat 20. Yeah, you know Gandalf. Actually, you don't just know Gandalf. You saw him probably about 80-ish years ago. You remember this very vividly. And he came into basically contact with Elrond, and he was seeking counsel. And you were actually assisting a ranger who had fallen in the wild. You were assisting your mother in helping mend his wounds. With the help of King Elrond, or Lord Elrond, Gandalf was having a very deep conversation with him about an evil, a wickedness that had fallen in, and that he essentially brought this ranger to be healed. And the wound that you saw upon this ranger was one that you had never seen before. It was pestilent, and it was stinking. It reeked of death, and it immediately was corroding all ounce of life that was around. And unfortunately, you were not able to save the ranger from the fate of whatever wound this was. So that is what you know of Gandalf.
Valineth peeks up. Oh, Gandalf, yes, I think he's very well known. Have you never heard of him, Jalen?
Evidently not.
Oh, well, he's great. I hope you meet him someday. He was very kind to me and he's very good friends with Lord Elrond, actually, in fact.
Ah,
Rivendell.
yes, indeed. Good friends, good friends. But Jalen, this name, Gandalf, the Grey Pilgrim, it's a very apt name for him. He does travel to and fro. And as a believer in fate, I believe that there's something about this wizard. And the sound wizard kind of piques your interest. Something about this wizard. He seems to speak for fate itself. And I do too believe he will find you when you need him. He will find you when the time is right.
Jalen is trying her hardest not to look visibly annoyed in front of
Yeah.
royalty right now.
I totally get that. Anything else?
Well, Valineth peeks up real quick, and he's just like, well, I've lived a long life here in Middle-earth, but I mean, for being such a young man, no offense, King Bard, I have all the respect for you.
None taken.
I agree with this. I have never met people quite like this, and you know what? I'd like the adventure to continue on. I think.
Well, take the time to rest here in Dale. Again, I will have in the Ravens Quarter, I will go ahead and set you up with accommodations. These accommodations are humble, but they should do the job. And the reconstruction of that area has been quite strong, and so you should have a nice warm winter there. Take some time to get to know the people here in Dale, and do what you can to wrap up any unfinished business. You never know when the hint of fate, the fate on the winds, will take you away from this place. And with that, everything ends. And we're going to go ahead and jump into really briefly the description of the fellowship phase. So the fellowship phase is a phase where basically it is your break from everything from your adventure, as it were. This is your time to be able to improve abilities, to be able to, do jobs, to be able to unlock sanctuaries and, gain patrons, like, for example, King Bard, like all these kinds of things. And they help you on your journey. They help you survive on your journey, essentially. So when the journey phase does eventually start, that's going to be essentially the next thing. So we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into a brief description before we end for tonight of the description of the holiday phase and everything that ensues before we jump into next session next week. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the music here. The winter begins to fall upon the city of Dale. Harder than ever, the snows have begun to fall, more cold and more bitter than recent years. And as the snowy months deepen, the dark of winter overcame the once bustling city of Dale, as festival goers took to the road to wander back home before the heart of the winter engulfed all of Wilderland. The company of adventurers settled into their winter routine in Dale. The streets were quiet, with most people staying indoors to keep warm. The only sounds were the occasional footsteps crunching through the snow and the soft crackling fires in hearths. Feanor, however, was always on the move, bundled up in furs and armed with a bow and his trusty steed Nymphiarion. He acquainted himself with the people in the commons, the waiting place for those seeking permanent homes within the city walls, living in nothing but tents and furs provided by the good people of Dale. But unable to stand idly by as the poor people froze in the bitter cold, he would venture out into the wilderness to hunt game, bring back fresh meat and furs for those who had to ride out the biting cold and harsh conditions. He also spent time foraging for wood, bringing it back to the commons to help those who were forced to brave the winter in those tents. Jalen spent her days at the local tavern, the Missing Scale, joining in the merriment and revelry of the people of Dale. She danced, sang, and laughed, enjoyed the warmth of the fires and the camaraderie of her fellow revelers. She could often be found out amongst the people, lightening the hearts of those of the great city of Man in the dark days of the season. But amidst the merriment, she never forgot her training, spending her mornings practicing her swordsmanship with her companions, particularly with Theodric, who took the opportunity to fight and attempt to learn to control his bloodlust. Theodric spent his time tending to his horse, Baradorok, honing his riding skills in the snow and ice. He also spent time deepening his bond with his faithful steed, grooming and taking care of him, ensuring that he was in top condition for any future travels. In the midst of this training, he kept pondering what the wise wizard of Roscabel had told him about prophecy, and the dangers of confronting prophecy too soon. Valineth spent the winter scouring the city of Dale, searching for any signs of the urchin girl Brindle, who had stolen his prized vambrace. He talked to anyone who might have information, building a detailed log of potential locations of the thief. Despite the cold and the snow, Valineth refused to give up, determined to reclaim what was gifted to him. It was in these months that Valineth wished Haleth farewell, and who had made full recovery from his injuries of months previous. It was in this goodbye that Valineth pondered the frailty of life. As the winter wore on, the company of adventurers found comfort in their routine, and they had each other for companionship, and they knew that spring would bring new adventures and challenges. For now, they focused on surviving the bitter cold of winter in Dale. That is, until the party caught a glimpse of a familiar raggedy girl sneaking into Brokenstone in the slums of Dale in the dead of night. And that is where we're going to end our session for this celebration. So, hey! Awesome.
Okay. Start of next session,
Yes.
we need like a mini thing where Jalen and Feanor take what's his face to the merchant.
Oh yeah, totally. 100%. I didn't expect that to happen, but we're going to totally do that. We're not going to skip over it. Absolutely. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, we're like there's like a couple like small events that we might do, but yeah,
Retroactively.
we're gonna do that, and it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, for now, you guys can go ahead and have a long rest.
Cool.
Yeah.
Valinor,
Smart.
Valinor saw
Smart.
Brindle and he's gonna strangle a child.
Oh yeah, he's not. He's gonna be compassionate about it, I think. But
You know what
he's
annoys
for a
me?
lesson.
I wish you'd tell me.
I gave her good bear meat.
And congratulations, that bear meat is probably what she used to survive the winter. So
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Good job.
Yeah, some good, I suppose.
I hope she didn't sell the freaking
I'm gonna head to bed.
Vambrace though.
Smart. I'm gonna post those freaking timestamps.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for guys for staying a little bit longer. I know these sessions are longer than we were expecting them to be. I'll try my hardest to cut them down, guys. I'm really sorry, but
You won't.
so we'll see. We'll see
I
what
don't think
happens.
it helps when we talk about teaching each other how to do shots and throwing peas at each other, as fun as that may be.
Yeah, it's,
You know what,
it's true.
guys? Okay, the thing that I've noticed when I've like watched previous episodes is just like how much fun we're having together.
Yeah, it's
as
a great
group. Like,
time.
everyone's got these like big smiles on their faces, and it's just great to see.
Agreed. Agreed. I'm very happy to be able to do this with each and every one of you, and I'm very happy as a lore master to be able to have a party that's so fun to play with. It makes me very excited, even though my Wednesdays are busy. It makes me very excited to be able to come back and play this game with you. And Adventure in Middle Earth, a world that I just love so dearly. You guys are doing an amazing job. So you know, just keep having fun, just being yourselves, and we'll see where this adventure takes us. But if you do need to log off, that's totally fine. We're going to have a couple of announcements before we do close things off. But Dain, let's go ahead and start as far as... Bye, Jalen. Have a good one. But Valinith, go ahead, Jane, and anything for the following week.
Yeah, so tomorrow we are going to be continuing well, if I can get my OBS working, we're going to be continuing the Breath of the Wild, Legends of Breath of the Wild in preparation for Tears of the Kingdom. If we do get the stream going tomorrow, we will be, as normal fashion, stream number 2, we will be raiding Hyrule Castle for the Hylian Shield, the Hinlian Shield, the cheap Hyrule knockoff of the Hylian Shield. And it's gonna be a good time. So we have that. No Cole and Max stream this week because this Sunday is Easter and they work for the Catholic Church, so they will be busy doing their thing. So no stream from them. But then into next week, next Monday, Kyle, will you be back with some Bravely Default 2?
Bravely Default 2. Oh yeah. And it like last video was crazy. I didn't expect it to take the turn that it did. There was like a whole siege on like this like city, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is happening? And it was really entertaining. I'm loving that game so much. I liked the first 2, but I'm really liking this game a lot. And then yeah, I also next week, same time, we're doing Adventures in Middle-earth, and then Pokemon in the morning, 7 a.m.
Yep.
JST.
Also, quick reminder, we do not have Everlast this week because, again, Easter is this weekend, so we do not have that. However, the 3rd and 4th week of April, we will be having Everlast.
I believe actually. So we have a weird break. Like this is a weird month for Everlast. So we have it on the 15th and we have it on the 29th of April. So we have a week in between.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so like the 3rd and 5th week, we will be having Everlast this month. So come join us for that. That is our brand new tabletop RPG that actually Kyle, our lore master, is creating and is in the process of doing so. So if you like tabletop RPGs, war games, board games, anything of the sorts, it's a fun new game that you can learn along with us.
And it's a very different campaign than what's going on right now. Right now they're buccaneering and swashbuckling through the high seas of Everlast. So.
It's great. We just learned how to do the boat mechanics last time, and I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good.
I am excited.
So it'll definitely be more story based next time. But
aside from that, though, we do have a sponsor that we did mention in the campaign. So Daisnaki is a wonderful small family business here in Japan, and they do all kinds of wonderful Japanese treats and luxury snacks and that kind of stuff. So, Kyle, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they sell all kinds of amazing product from Japanese sweets to luxury treats, and they have 3 boxes that are currently for sale. Technically 4, I guess, but they have their omakase box, which is their random assortments box of Japanese goodies, and those you can get for anywhere from 20 pieces all the way up to 40 pieces. And they have their omakase looks box, which is traditional Japanese sweets, so like manju, mochi, all that really good stuff. Right now, I guess, is the season for all of that, and so yeah, like it's really fresh and really good. And they also have their their character themed box, their kawaii box, which has just their normal one has a random assortment of anime goods that are here, like anime snacks, themed snacks. And then they have all kinds of other ones. So they have a Sanrio box, a Disney box, a Nintendo box, and a Pokemon box, which comes with official stuff from those specific stores here in Japan as well. But the one that's, I think, most important to jump on top of right now is their seasonal box. So they have
that ends in May.
It does end May 1st. And so they have a Sakura. So again, this is the season for Japanese snacks. Like, it really is. And so essentially what it is it's a box of seasonal goodies from Sakura to mochi, oh my goodness, mochi to all kinds of things. And it's all like very specific seasonal themed. And like in the coming weeks actually here, I think they're going to start including Kodomo no Hi, which is like Children's Day, which I think is in May, but they start selling stuff in the spring for that way early. So I don't know if that'll be in there, but I know it's a holiday that's coming up, but they have all kinds of amazing stuff. But again, you would need to get them while they last, because May 1st, they're not going to have them anymore. And they're an amazing box that, such good stuff are inside. So make sure you do that. Make sure.
Even myself, who I live in Japan, like the stuff that they come in, like especially the seasonal boxes, as well as like the looks boxes for the omakase box, are like super high end that like I don't even like purchase or buy myself, because they're just like so insane. So it's good stuff. It's really good quality for sure.
And free shipping internationally, even better.
Yes. Even better.
But yeah, and so like if you do order from them, make sure to mention in the like notes while ordering that Fantasy Forge sent you, and then your stream name, as it helps, because eventually when they have enough boxes referred by us, or they're going to do a free giveaway to everybody that's here, and you get, based on like if you purchase, you can get tickets, followers get tickets towards this raffle, and subscribers get tickets, and so it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a party, and hopefully way less chaotic than the 2-year anniversary stream.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to do it. But yeah, they reached out to us and they're like, we would love to do this to be able to, help and, build your community and be able to give something to your community that's very uniquely Japan. So yeah, it's good. But I think that's enough of that. We should go ahead and sign off. But if anyone has anything to say, speak now or forever hold the peace. You good? We good?
Holding peace.
All right. This is Kyle and Fantasy Forge and the group signing off. And may the road go ever onward and on.